row.
Glad you had to explain what a hat trick is to me. Just to
خلينا نضحك شوي بعد.
keep me on page.
You're not the only person listening.
I'm fine, fine. We've all just had dinner. I felt like my brain was slowing down a bit before dinner because it was anticipating dinner. It's not picked up any pace since consuming dinner.
Some call it a three-piece. It's more of an American thing, though.
They do. Like, stuff like that, credit to the Americans, it's quite cool, but the fact that they've came up with it, I don't like it. But it's actually pretty good. A three-peat. It's very clever, but came from American sports. I don't want any part of it.
How did your beloved Brighton do today?
Clung on for a win. Skripkin, 2 10s. Threw on the board a minute ago. He may need to hit one here because Skripkin may look him up at King Queen. And they will be off to the traditional race. Just 5 blinds, no real option. Juma may come in behind. 2 6s.
Maybe you double.
Great result for Skripkin here. Who
yeah.
is now going to go up against an underpair as well for a triple up.
Triple he don't want.
Quadruple.
Any argument here, David, for Juma to squeeze out the man in the middle?
I don't think so. I think it's actually quite a nice flash here for 4 more bigs. Sort of like a set mine, but into a dry side pot where maybe, you know, your opponent with 2 overs won't go after it. Although you predicted it, he has gone for it. And wow, he's also priced Shlukia in such a way where maybe he'll like this price. I don't know.
It's a lot of actual chips to be calling off a King Queen offsuit. There we go. He knows there's no follow-up. He knows it has to be some sort of real hand.
And he's
what a spot for Skripkin.
It's an amazing spot. And oh my goodness me.
Good job. Jack,
what an incredible.
Your partner? It's my partner.
What? He's his partner, yeah. It certainly feels that way in that hand. Skripkin.
Thank you.
If a king or queen comes on this board, we might see fireworks.
There it is.
Oh ho ho ho! Well, Juma.
What did you have?
Spades forming. None relevant. Only a 6 will send Skripkin out. Skripkin lives again. Courtesy of Juma's squeeze.
Not just surviving, but getting a triple up instead of a bust out.
Right.
Incredible
plus
swing.
The 2 blinds in there from the big blind and the ante. You only start the hand with 5 blinds. Now we'll have 17.
Amazing spot.
Good game.
Giorgio unimpressed, I think, by Juma there. And interested to know what you think in the chat about that one, guys. Obviously, they're kind of controversial spots. Not sure we have a definitive answer about whether it's good to kind of squeeze the guy out who has equity, who hasn't isolated himself.
It always looks worse when it's like that. When it's you've knocked out the overcards, you've got the underpair. But it's say the jammer was ace king and he squeezed that king queen in the middle, he might have won the pot.
True.
So he's letting down the law. You guys think you can just call and I'm not going to squeeze? I'm Juma. I've got the most chips. I'm going to put you all in a difficult position all the time. Better be careful when you choose to enter a pot.
Shlukia with the queen 9 suited here, going to go to work right away. Juma having a little think over this king 7-0. These sets of blinds and antes gone through him now. Ponomarev down to just 575k. Desperately looking for a reshove spot off this stack. This is not going to be it though.
No.
Not sure there why we saw a little pause. I can only assume there's a ladder jump.
That's what I was just checking, but we've, according to the count there, we've just made it. So with 24 left, everyone's guaranteed 6,750.
Okay.
Next page I'm coming at 20. It may be that perhaps the tournament clock in the room hasn't quite updated yet. Maybe we're a fraction ahead of it. Maybe the bust that's just happened on our table. Who knows? Or maybe he was just thinking about giving it a go with the queen 4.
How much are these guys guaranteed now?
6,750.
Просто что у него в голове. Вот
ты мне всю игру хочешь калечить с этими валетами. Сейчас сиди уже. Если так нельзя.
Верну.
Ну ты меня сейчас Ты там мог выбить, и тут, блядь. Успокойся. На другого переключись.
Skripkin. Cat that got a
Benjo.
canary. Loving life. Would have been out.
الموت هيدا.
Now has 17 blinds. Juma in the cutoff has been dealt 2 cards. One of them happens to be an ace. Going to be enough.
Oh, and here is the spot Ponomarev would have been hoping for off this 14, 15 big blind stack.
2 5s against the theoretically the widest open in the table from the widest position, or second widest position, I should say.
All in.
Please come back to the seat to continue tournament in 1 minute.
Jam declared. Juma would, I don't want to count, but you should be able to see quite clearly. It's around 600k.
About
It looks like it's a bit more than 600k. Graphics saying 575, but
500, 650.
there's a couple of blinds more.
Strange one to think about here from Juma. Obviously, if he's
He wants to show the ace before folding. Is that what's going on here?
maybe. Perhaps.
It's just a little slow down. Doesn't want Ponomarev to think this is an easy spot to 3-bet jam. Generate a slightly Pavlovian response. You know, you don't want to get too excited too. Oh, it's jam. You just snap folds. Jam. Make him think for a minute. Make his heart rate climb. Make him not enjoy it. Think twice about doing that again. It's an old school theory. He's more of a new school guy. He dresses like the chips.
But apparently, it's very in vogue these days.
It's the way. Like, why would you not do it? People at home, what are you doing if you're not dressing in the same colour as the chips? It's simple. I'm just thinking, what happens if I'm playing the World Series and I go from one to the other? I bust one and go reg the next one and it's a different chip set in play. Do I have to bring a change of clothes with me?
250.
You're refusing to engage. Fine. I'll leave it for now. For a minute, maybe.
You could just wear one of Darrow Carney's shirts, which I'm pretty sure has every colour on it. Then you're safe.
It's probably something not something I'm going to do, if I'm being honest with you. Those shirts have got a certain appeal. Juma. At it again. King 10 suited. More than enough.
We've seen Govorov be a little bit spewy with the flat calls on a couple of occasions. Looks like he's going to speculate here with the 9-7 suited. Don't hate it, but I don't love it if I'm honest. I think maybe a little bit more hand, maybe a 8-9 suited or 9-10 suited or Jack-9 suited would feel a bit better. The 9-7 just a little bit on the light side. Particularly against a player who, remember, should make it so that you can't realise as much as him.
Right. And this may be a situation because Juma missed the flop. There's overs and the flush draw.
Yeah.
Comes out firing.
Reverse the stacks around, and I actually like it more because I think you'll over-realise if you're the one sitting with 5 million. But yeah, just sort of throwing 2 big blinds at situations like that.
I was just thinking, it's sort of visibly perturbed that Govorov is, and he does look a little dejected. How much worse is it going to be in about 15 minutes' time when he finds out Yorkie had 9-10 of diamonds on the Jack-5 all black flop?
Yeah.
It's going to hurt.
Yeah, it's going to get even steamier in that hoodie.
Okay, hold it. Let me.
Which I think is now, I've actually got confirmation it's not a hoodie, it's actually a sleeping bag.
Okay.
Yeah, GG are doing their own sleeping bag ranges. So its size was actually on purpose.
Okay. I think I need to see him stood up in this hoodie to fully appreciate what you're getting at.
And again, speculating here with a suited hand. It's the aggressor this time. Kazarian with a relatively easy decision to just flat, I would have thought, yeah. Don't know if he contemplated a raise in that spot. I feel like it would be a little bit of a waste to the hand.
Right, he'd much rather keep these kind of hands in. Play a post-flop spot from the big blind with big cards rather than the expected smaller cards.
Now, having whiffed here in a big way, will Govorov find the C-bet? One presumes he would. His best chance of winning this one.
He's gone. Quite big. Yeah. It makes sense, right, on these 9-7 flush draw boards. You really want to start maximizing pressure. You want to make some of the gut shots fold.
What played?
ليك انا عن جد حسه رح يموت هذا. ارتاح شوي. ليه هيك قولك؟ عم بتطلع عليه بس قلت مع الحلتين عم بموت من قبل كان. ما فيك تعرف. ايه ما فيك تعرف. يمكن عملها قصد هيك لان هيك لما حدا بيعرف اذا عم يبلغ. كل الوقت عم بموت. بتعرف شو بتعرف شو حبيت ما حدا قال للثاني قلت لك لانه كسب.
Lamar 19 blinds, A7 suited. Not interested. 22 players remain. Money's getting serious.
Yeah, we've lost 2 more players on the outer tables pretty quickly there. Maybe, just maybe, this final table will happen tonight.
So with 22 left, everyone's guaranteed 67.50. At 21, we're guaranteed 7,500. So we are on a $750 pay jump. Again, not really going to change the hands you play, but maybe change the pace at which you play them.
Interesting one now for Kazarian facing a 3x. Limped in with the 10-8, which is a nice initial approach.
I pills. No?
Also, I put the chips for him. He take my money.
Okay, he's king. You don't have aces. Nice fold.
Can we come up with a good name for the wizard rat?
Brains aren't really working. The only rat I think of is Roland, which is
It
not really going to work.
depends what happened in my brain. Like sometimes cuckoo, cuckoo.
Well, I suppose if we're on turtle themes.
Splinter was the rat, yeah.
Genius, genius.
Any other famous rats?
No genius, no.
No good.
The rat from Ratatouille.
That's what I was thinking.
Chuk, no
I don't think we have the rat from
Opposite
Ratatouille.
Yamaha player. So?
Get on this.
Oh, wow. I feel to play. I play. I don't feel to play. I don't.
Speedy Gonzalez.
Was he a rat?
Strip King, Queen of Diamonds in the cutoff. Despite that triple up, still only with 16 blinds. Certainly going to play this one.
Oh,
He's going to play it for all of it.
good work.
Fine, you will not call you.
You know, I'm going to cheat. I was thinking earlier, I still haven't found a proper use for ChatGPT, but I feel like coming up with a name for a wizard rat, this must be where it thrives.
How much?
Mystic Whiskeriva.
That's what it decided.
Sorcerer Sweekington. Not so good. Juma having a think with Queen Jack off from the big, but for 15, hard to believe he wants to play this. Jeopardize that big stack that he has.
Harry Ratter.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, he has called. Wants to see him.
Wow, Juma. Gamble, gamble. He's got the stack to do it, but he's
Jack.
the worst confrontation you could see here. Dominated.
Look at this. Stripkin's gone from calling for 200k to now playing a 1.2 million chip pot with a dominating hand.
It's the dream.
Spin is on for a very dangerous player.
So far, so good.
Very good flop. King, Queen of Diamonds.
Switch the outs around.
10.
Yeah. Come from 3 outs to 4. 10 for Broadway. Win it in style. Not going to be the case. Stripkin. Wow. Yeah, look at that. He's rubbing the hands on the jeans. It's like, all right, it's time to get busy now.
And I tell you, Georgie's loving this because he's thinking to himself, but you know what, Jim? If you just flatted the sixes, he'd be gone.
Yeah.
And now he's cost you another 500k.
Yeah. I think he's actually making that point right now.
It'd be rude not to.
How much was you all in? 5, 6, 600?
Yes. Yeah, 580.
Okay, just to know how much you have.
Yeah, yeah.
More or
I
less.
understand what you said.
Yeah?
I don't speak Russian, but I understand what you said.
I know yes, you little bit understand.
No, I don't understand anything.
Yeah?
But I understand what you mean.
What exactly? What
I'll tell you, but
Yeah, ChatGPT doesn't work.
I should not say it.
Coming out there.
Watch.
The robots aren't taking
There's
over yet.
125 go there for you.
Mine?
Wow.
Yes.
100. There is this 100
Mine,
for me.
No, it's mine. How can it be yours?
Okay, I've done it. I've done it,
Only
James.
this one. Only this one for you.
The ultimate
Ah,
name.
this is it?
Here we go.
You sent it?
Pal routine.
Ah, okay, of course.
And this 100 is for me. This up.
Me free
Lord,
red chip.
Lord Pal routine.
I like it. Little paladin, little power ratin.
You did?
I'm there.
You want to take everything from me? Okay, take my blood.
Why are you speaking? You want to play like
Okay, I will do it.
No, I'm joking. I said, it's normal guy. He do good things. He understands it.
Well, average stack right now in this tournament around 2 million.
Because here is the set why
You can see Shlukia and Juma playing a good deal more than that.
because
Juma just gambled for 10% of a stack a moment ago.
because he would have won the hand.
He's going to flat the small here with the king 3 of hearts, smothering the hearts of Shlukia. So, watch out for that. Ponomarev pitches the 9-4.
مليون ونص.
Wow, what a flop. Shlukia just smashes it.
Drill it. The nuts. Number 1. I'm blocking everything else. All the pairs, all the flush draws alive.
Hard to fathom a hand worse in this spot than king 3 of hearts.
I'm going to throw it out there. King 2 of hearts. Put you in your place.
Indeed, yeah.
Kilgi's like, really? No action for this one. I've asked ChatGPT now for 20 names and none of them are really good. Like, they're just bad. They're just...
So our jobs are safer now.
Well, my job is not to come up with names for fictional.
I think you'll find it is.
Wizard.
Sorry to break it to you,
Wizard
James,
rats.
but in this booth it is.
What else can we ask ChatGPT for? Whether it's GTO to wear the colours of the chips, seems to be.
Put in what's lucky when you're playing cards.
What is lucky to wear?
Sure. Rabbit's foot.
That's being too generic. But it does say the concept of luck is subjective. Well, don't come at me with that. Just tell me what's luck. I don't want your lessons.
Well, that is fair though, because it wasn't lucky for the rabbit.
They do talk about lucky clothing. It's a big part of it. Colour preferences. There you go. Which colours are lucky? Here we go.
4-leaf clover in your pocket. Good shot now for cover off. May decide to lead at this one.
I think it's snap called. Nothing going right for this man.
Oh.
Until then. Finally, a little reprieve.
Give me a sizing here, James. You go half pot, maybe?
He might just get a little bit more. No, he's going about half pot. Dovorov wins one. Has he found out yet that he got
gonna play till final table or
monster
you don't
bluffed?
know?
That's the question.
Level, 1 hour.
Only?
If any of our players are getting information via their phones or people on the rail, I haven't spotted a single example all day.
2 hours.
Well, 8 level, the same yesterday, no?
Maybe 1, maybe 2 maximum.
Sergey.
Be 10 levels they're playing. They're on their 7th of the day. About to go to their 8th. Have one more break, come back with 2 more hours and be done.
What, 6th? 3 level.
No.
3 more level.
Really?
Yeah, better. Like this we play.
3 more?
You crazy, bro.
No.
He's crazy.
This one
like a fool.
and next one. This one, then 3 more after. Okay, thank you.
Very good.
See, this is the problem. We're getting too much of a light schedule the first couple of days. Now they're just used to these 8-hour days. Worry we might breach the YouTube copyright terms there with the
Do you think the
rendition going on. Do you think the algorithm's going to pick it up? I mean, I'm not impressed with AI as it is. On the creative side from ChatGPT, perhaps a little easier. Got to be something. Look at this. Juma going after Skripkin. Doubled him up twice already. He says, all right, I'm going to play another pot with you. This time raising it small. Click 3-bet with the King Queen of Diamonds. Skripkin, plenty of incentive to continue, despite having opened a pretty fragile hand from under the gun. Less than 100k more. We are going to go to the flop in a 3-bet pot. And, well,
ooh, wow.
Spades for Skripkin on this ace-high board. Terrible board for Juma. But he is the 3-better. Is he going to feel compelled to fire here?
Yeah, well, I feel like Skripkin has maybe the perfect check jam stack.
250 the wager. It's chunky.
There's no raise size that isn't all in, and do you really want to call and hope to hit? I think you just got to close your eyes and go with this one.
Question I guess you've got to ask, if it's value, a hand like Queens and Kings going to c-bet the flop? And will they fold to a jam?
I think there's just, you have too much equity in.
Yeah, I can see why. I think he's just worried that he's just jamming into an ace a lot. Maybe he can win this if it goes cool, then potentially check. Juma is not nutted.
Like he's picked up the 8 now for outs as well, and there's less than a pot size bet left. I don't really love not just going with this myself now on the turn. I think I might just jam the turn as played.
Is Juma like a little steamy that he keeps giving chips to Skripkin, and it's generated this position where now playing a 1,000,000 chip pot with king high. Only now just picking up a draw.
Does Skripkin find a bluff if he misses this river?
Well, he comes check, check. Surely he must. I mean, he gets to have some of the ace-x, right? Just to have a hand like ace-jack, maybe even ace-queen. Certainly ace-queen, in fact.
You probably don't have to go all in here.
No, so you can go kind of a milky sizing.
Sort of fire out half pot.
Yeah.
And rep that sort of ace-jack kind of hand.
I think ace-jack, ace-queen is going to be a big part of it, and that's what it looks like he's doing. Betting around 300,000. 375, there we go. Skripkin, surely going to pick up more chips here again off Juma, who must now be regretting that squeeze with the sixes. This guy's become a menace. Barreling off here with the worst hand. Skripkin thinking he's open Juma's folding a big pair here.
Wow, and we're up to 1.7 million.
Volba. Volba.
And most of those chips coming from the stack of Juma.
Yeah, all of them.
Who gifted him his tournament life.
Yeah.
Just 25 minutes ago.
I bet them fold.
Delicately played too.
Yeah,
It's
kind of right. He's not going to face the second barrel unless it's an ace-x, which isn't going to fold to check jam anyway. I think is the reasoning. Gets to realize the equity and then can bluff against the bluff against the part of the range that is now weaker. Part that checks back rather than the part of the bets. Kind of like it. You have to trust your opponent not to bluff the turn.
Yeah, that's the problem. Or indeed, if you shove turn yourself, can you get them off queens ever?
Right. If they've even bet the flop with queens and kings.
Yeah.
No guarantee they do. Big downswing for Juma, but still has 4 million in chips. Govorov, been all over the place. Re-entering a pot once again, this time with King Jack from the button.
A more sedate Bernard Bootbull, I feel we've seen.
Just chilling, post dinner. I'm feeling it. Skripkin up against the 2.5x open. Govorov has started these slightly larger openings. I think he kind of got into the shell a little bit, playing a bit tighter, makes sense, therefore raise a bit bigger.
Wow, well, Skripkin just in the ascendancy right now.
Can do no wrong.
Every reason to bet this one Govorov with the backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw. 2 overs. Seems like a good cannon today. Oh, okay.
A wet turn card. May well assist Govorov in losing no further chips in this pot.
Orange.
A little half pot bet here from Skripkin with top pair and a good shot. Govorov now in no man's land, really. Does let it go. Lost fewer chips than I would have in that hand.
Yeah, look at Skripkin just building and building and building.
Orange juice.
10 times the stack he had half an hour ago.
Crazy. Crazy, crazy stuff. Well, as many blinds as he's got, they're about to reduce, I believe.
No, thank you.
So we switch up dealers. We will be kicking things up to 20k, 50k. I imagine it's going to be 25k, 50k. Maybe a weird level otherwise. Anyway, Juma, chip leader. 80 blinds, 4 million in points. Bootbull, been pretty snug, but up there with him. And of course, Georgi, done some of the heavy lifting thus far. Scripting, incredible. Look at that, up to 37 blinds at this new level. Ponomarev, the shortest, absolutely been put in his cage since that big pot he lost just before dinner. He's barely played a hand since. Needs to get something going in this next hour.
Yeah, he's played perfectly since then. He got the pocket fives and he got the reshove through in that spot, but he's had absolutely nothing else to play with. He's obviously going to need some help from the deck over the course of the next hour or so, one would imagine. Oh, and right away.
That's pretty incredible. We build that up. Here he comes.
Well, 13 bigs from the hijack. You're not going to have a huge amount of opens, but he is going to find an open here. There's no way he's going to waste these aces.
Let's exploit.
And it is absolutely possible to balance a range here where you have opens off this stack.
Yep.
A lot of players will sort of make 15 or 14 their cutoff.
Wow, and Skripkin, who's been going only up, finds 2 nines in the small against this open of 13 blinds. And even if he's suspicious, 9s is just too good a hand.
Music to the ears of Ponomarev, who gets to go.
Yeah, I mean, Skripkin opens his hand up whilst opening his hands up. What could I do? You got 13 blinds. You got better than 9s. Good luck to you.
Yeah, and then, you know, had Ponomarev shoved this aces, he's getting looked up by the 9s anyway, so.
Yeah.
This was inevitable. 1.4 million in the pot here. Ponomarev licking his lips in expectation of those chips coming in his way. Just has to fade those 2 black 9s, which he does.
All right. Something finally goes right for him. Skripkin's first clipping of the wings. Such a poker play. He's like puffing out like, oh, how bad have I run? Got 1.2 mil from 200k a minute ago. Would have been out if it weren't for the ISO of 6s.
Mr. Hardy, Texas Golden 515, sit open. Mr. Hardy. Mr. Shingis, pillow 510 cards, sit open. Mr. Shingis, pillow 510 cards, sit open.
Sure. Yes, it was 1.8.
1 million. No? Thank you. Thank you.
Can I have some Greek tea, please? Yeah.
I don't think it's very gangster to order green tea. Right.
It's true.
Where's the bourbon?
Maybe a smoke cocktail of some sort.
Yeah. Nice.
Cool. Smoked whiskey sour, maybe.
Maybe that's what I'm going to have tonight.
You're on the early night off.
I am.
You bid your farewell after this frame.
I do, which means probably more time to get in trouble, which is not ideal. But you know, I'm a grown man. I can control myself. You did mention a player party, didn't you?
There is and it's a themed player party tonight.
Okay.
For all the players, there is a Gangster themed player party.
Where are the details? Help me out.
It's on my phone. Well, I was invited, you weren't, it turns out, because you do get sent an invitation to your phone and you said you didn't get one, so I feel like maybe there's a reason they don't want you there.
It's like that.
Do you think you could dress up as me? Go incognito?
No.
I don't think so either.
It's the hair. Couldn't pull it off.
I think it's the belly you couldn't pull off, to be honest.
I don't know. The buffet's still open, don't worry about that. Ponomarev gonna open it up. King 10 suited from under the gun. He now with perhaps a bit of momentum.
tempted.
What's he doing? Is this the rule? If you double someone up, you got to go after them to try and get them back?
I think the rule might be we're 2 from a ladder jump.
Yeah. One away. 1 from the jump.
Shulukia with a hand he will almost certainly flat here out of the small. Can set mine for cheap.
Juma 9-4 offsuit says, why not? Getting the price. Because Juma 9-4 offsuit not going to play particularly well, especially 3-way against an undergun open. An undergun open has got a flush draw on this ace-7 board.
Yeah, and he can literally bet 1 big blind in this spot.
Right.
It's a pretty beautiful situation.
See, very, very unlikely. And if your opponent has an ace, you don't mind getting called anyway because you've got a nut flush draw. You certainly don't want to blast the flush draws out. You don't mind even getting called by, say, the 2 6s here because you do have those overs in a flush drawn position.
Opted for 1.3 big blinds.
There we go.
Sizing up.
Lappin says he's bet too much.
Well, I think Shulukia maybe has to flat here with the 6s to the sizing. I think you have to find, you have to kind of clamber down deeply into your range here to have a minimum defense frequency, and I think a pocket pair will qualify. Awkwardly for him there, he won't know if the 6 of clubs is any good if he does manage to spike that, and obviously his opponent may not slow down even if he isn't paired, so it's difficult to realize. However, if you're Shulukia,
there's always another way.
There's always another way. And he really does pounce on these small bets.
Mesmerizing.
Now, Ponomarev going nowhere with the nut flush draw, obviously.
Yeah.
Shulukia aware that he can represent some ace-X here, but do those ace-X really raise in this situation if they don't raise pre?
He never has the strongest ones. So even if he's got, say, an ace-10 here, he may check raise here, but he doesn't really get to go hard down the streets. For that reason, Ponomarev will know that he's likely to be checked to, even though he's been check raised here, if he were to call.
Ponomarev wondering if
does he just
raising or
does he just know against this man I can just rip it in here and take down the pot so often?
He does have position in the hand, which is important.
I feel like it'd be a waste to rip, but I can see why perhaps he'd think about it. He's clicked it. What is going on?
Setting up a turn shove, I guess.
Wow. Is he thinking he can keep in a hand like 8s for this bet? Shove turn?
Inferior flush draws, maybe.
Right, and look at this. Yorkie making the call with 260. You're right, of course. The hands he's keeping are of course, inferior flush draws. I hadn't clocked that. But look at this. The 2 6s sticking around. David, what's going on?
Well, we're in the streets here.
Queen producing a gut shot draw. Can Ponomarev pull the trigger?
Oh, he must pull the trigger at this point, I feel.
The Queen's such a bad colour, given we just said you're keeping in the weaker flush draws. The best of those flush draws has just made a pair. What a jam, get it to fold. He just slows down. Can he find the river? He does in the offsuit dudes. Yorkie gets to the river with the better hand.
But Ponomarev still with position will probably bet this river sometimes.
This hand is insane, as they so often are with this man involved. It goes check, check. Yorkie's going to table 6s. Ponomarev's face. Oh no.
That is a sickener.
Oh no. Look at this. What is going on?
So I guess he felt as though he was keeping in the inferior flush draws, and then he would have showdown against those. Against the pairs, yes, we said, well, are you keeping in the pairs? You would point out, but you didn't think the pairs would raise in the first place.
Right. So it's like, okay, he's got the inferior flush draws to beat those, and he's got some ace-X still. Gazarian's face was brilliant when those cards get taped up. Oh, he got 6s, yeah, that makes sense. This hand is normal. Incredible stuff here.
Ponomarev muttering to himself, I am sure, what have I just done? I've somehow let pocket sixes win on the ace-7 clubs when I had clubs.
Three-bet
I
on
somehow
the flop.
put the maximum amount I could have put in.
Right. I managed to put 3 bets in on the flop and let sixes win. What else is he supposed to do? The man's stuck around for the 3rd bet. How can you think he's going to fold?
Раз в жизни такой сыграешь.
That's got to feel sickening above all else. Far more so than the ace-deuce hand.
Well, it's the Gangster series. We're watching some Gangster poker right now.
Главное, чтобы вот это вот зашла.
Fighting on the streets. Ponomarev just wants to knuckle back and hit something.
Decent flop.
Devant toi?
Open ender, 2 overs. Going to be in good shape against most.
And there's a card that wins him a lot. Well, a lot might be a strong word.
Does Juma try to protect his hand a little here with a small tiddler? Looks like that's exactly what he's going to do. Try to deny equity to some random overcards to the board. Ponomarev pondering.
Ponomareving. Jack kind of makes the call, finds the double paired board.
I don't know if he can bluff this one plausibly enough. Juma may actually find the call with king high. Obviously all the draws have missed. He would have to be representing about, or maybe a 6. He's going to try.
Wow, the snap call.
Ponomarev's resting, sickened face is remaining so.
Yeah, that hurts again. It's not the fact he's losing these spots, the manner in which they're getting lost hurt the most. Let a man win with 6s in a 3-bet pot.
Yeah.
Post flop on ace a7.
Yeah, a 1 big blind bet on the flop would have taken that one down.
Yeah. It's all going wrong for the man who had just doubled. Thought maybe would trend in the right direction.
Bernard remains quiet there. He has been dealt some napkins, to be fair.
Mr. Arad, below for card 510 sit open. Mr. Arad, below 510 for card.
Kazarian going to step out here with the 6-5 of hearts.
19 blinds in his midst.
Not
Try and get one through, but Juma's got Jack 10 suited on the button, so he's going to get through that seat.
Yeah, do not try this at home, guys. Obviously, when you get to this sort of stack size and there's ICM about, these suited connectors, particularly the low ones, really just diminish in value. They disappear out of your range normally. Obviously, Kazarian fancies himself to have a skill edge over the opponents behind him. Maybe feels like he can figure out a way to win. We saw that happen earlier today with the, was it like a 3-deuce?
Yeah. Juma flopping. I was about to say flopping a flush draw. He's not flopping a flush draw. He's flopping 3 in a row and 3 to a flush draw. Kazarian, though, flopping the open ender. All 3 players checking it through. Turn repeating a 9.
Well, one assumes Kazarian will take a stab now. Kind of wild not to.
Yeah.
And not enough in either opponent's hand that he will get the worst hand through.
And does win the pot with the weakest holding.
Slightly cagier passage of play, this. 7-handed on 3 tables now. With the
Max.
Very pretty king-queen offsuit here in the small blind. Perhaps the kind of hand he may decide to limp raise with.
Like I looked at you, I
no,
said,
he's just going to ship it in for 24 bigs here. It's kind of clunky.
Yeah. Especially against Bubor, who's been a fairly honest player. I thought you could perhaps navigate that a little easier. But again, maybe a man who's just been knocked back into his cage. Feels pretty shy. Doesn't want to make any decisions. Still just wants to chill time. Wait, there's 18 left to redraw. Let's reset. Connemara, 13 blinds, 2 9s. Well, he had 2 aces in this spot a minute ago and ran into 2 9s. Min raising. This different hand selection though.
All in.
Slips more naturally into the jam range.
Actually, we'll get round to Shripkin. Ponmarev back to 800k, 16 big blinds.
You know this guy C9?
No. He's had a roller coaster of a day, it must be said.
I feel he's not feeling good. He's too much red. Red.
Red? He's not good.
Yeah, he don't feel good, I feel.
Maybe he drank.
I think or something.
Any word on our missing player from earlier today? Did he blind into the money? I presume he did.
Yeah, I don't know.
And when did he bust? Or did he come back to his stack at some point? I'm going to look into that for you guys. Just dawned on me there.
Yeah. We still had quite a few blinds when we went on that first break of the day, and then you guys got to the bubble very quickly and it busted straight away. So I'm going to have to presume after just half an hour of 2.5 hours of play, that stack got in, yeah. So.
Juma 3xing here, +1 with the Djangos. Little deviation to his normal strategy of minning.
Yeah, curious.
Oh,
150.
And what will Gazarian make of it here in the big blind?
Yeah, I mean, plenty of hands to obviously just rifle in here, especially over the larger open.
Very tough spot here for Gazarian.
Yeah.
Facing the larger open. Does stick it in, does get called, gets the bad news. Can he get there with an ace from space? 2.5 million in the middle. Nice pop zoom on Juma there.
Gazarian, the head scratch. Not much could be done, was suspicious clearly. Too much kit.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Juma's turn to go a little red. Only a king can get him out of this spot. Otherwise, it's Gazarian, the latest on the spin. And that's the case. He's up to 2.5 million. Juma down to 3 million. It was weird to say down to 3 million, but that is the case.
Oh, it's not a 3 million you feel good about. He's particularly upstuck right now.
Upstuck indeed. What was the one you mentioned earlier? Happy Tilt.
I don't think I said that, did I?
Or was that Andrew? Something along those lines. You won a pot and then start playing more pots. I don't know.
I like Happy Tilt.
Yeah, Happy Tilt.
Well,
up with an open light.
1 million.
Well, Juma very unlucky there, obviously. Didn't change his shirt.
Thank you, hardly.
Hate to point out the obvious here, but he's been leaking chips with that shirt that is supposed to have a sort of magnetic.
It's got 3 million, all right? Let's not, let's not get carried away.
I just feel like if he does somehow manage to dust off this 3 million, will you drop the theory?
No, because it's clearly worked to get in the chips. If it worked every time, all the time, then everyone would be dressed as chips. Like, maybe you should dress as a chip rack.
Yes, here.
Encourage the chips in. No? Okay.
It's either you
just sounds like a Halloween costume for Matt Savage.
Yeah. Throw myself on the floor to upset him whenever possible.
No, me. I don't know about
Oh, and a very frustrated Juma.
You fish.
As we hold on this one shot of a man who is in perpetual reverse right now.
You eat all the. You are like.
The emotional swings on this table for pretty much everyone have been pretty incredible.
You are smart.
Ponomarev
you are
maybe
like
opens this one, maybe shoves it. It's pretty close.
I think open.
Does seem like a man who likes to play poker. Post flop, backs himself. Last time he opened off a shallow stack, remember he had the aces as well. It kind of helps. It sort of stays in the mind of your opponents. Shripkin, oh, with the nines again. Well, once bitten, twice shy with the nines?
No. If you got me, you got me. Guaranteed 7,500 with 21 left. Okay.
Just makes the call.
Gonna use the button. Does encourage this man to come along from the big blind though, which is never that joyous an occasion.
No, it's a good point there from James though, that you know by shoving you remove any value of being in position.
And Ponomarev finding the best of it on this very broken board, albeit 2 clubs.
Yeah, expect a bet of around about a third here. Targeting pocket pairs and a hand like Queen 10, Queen Jack that could be in the mix. Obviously, Shulukia's range will be the widest. He could have a piece, maybe a 7x that he gets sticky with. We see here Shripkin basically at the top of his pre-flop planning range, so...
Yeah. Going nowhere thus far. Obviously can have some Queen X himself, some club draws. Set of 7s potentially. Deuce is unlikely. For all those reasons. The 10 not the most ideal card. We'll have to see. Could be up against a hand like Queen 10 suited. But it's minimal.
Yeah, I think Ponomarev just has to proceed like he has the best hand and try and find a target hand for value.
Well, there you go. All in. That. And certainly have on that 10 as well, a hand like Ace Jack, Ace King.
Absolutely.
Club draws.
How much?
King Jack. All contenders for hands that might want to play this way.
Yeah. So it's a full pot size bet. Shripkin obviously needs to be good a third of the time now. Figures not to be. Good decision. He played the hand pretty well, to be honest. Navigated rather than shoving pre. Ponomarev up over $1 million now. What a topsy-turvy day he's had.
Yeah. A lot to happen in the last 2.5 hours. The rest of the day, almost irrelevant. It's about the end of the day when the stakes are the highest, the blinds are the biggest. How do you run now?
Mr. Florian, Gangster Cove 515 is open.
Bootball being very quiet. Looks down at Jack 4 offsuit. Gonna stay quiet.
Well, he's on screen there. Fun fact about Juma,
Oh.
courtesy of Milbudas. He won the 3K mystery bounty earlier this year at the festival for 83K plus bounties. Presumably that was the 2K bounty, or maybe the 1500. Very nice touch.
Bootball. Deuces from +1. Hasn't had a chance to get involved quite some time. Not going to turn down a pair with all that in mind.
No, and going for a larger 2.5x sizing here. He's going to get some credit for all those folds for the last hour. Will he get enough credit to get through the King 10 suited though? I don't think so.
No, Juma looking to reaccumulate.
I'd like to see a fold here for Ponomarev, yeah. Can just get you into a lot of trouble at ace-3 in that spot. Nicely done. And well, the deuces staring at 3 overcards as they were likely to do. Juma top pair. Oh, a somewhat surprising raise here.
Yeah, but look at this. Getting matched instantly. Again, we are leaving the tree. Playing some merit poker. $900,000 chips found their way to the middle of this one already. Juma now slowing down, perhaps maybe regretting having raised with top pair 10 kicker, knowing he'd be up against all the better kings.
Wow.
And kind of a fun ball for him to have because a lot of the draws have missed. All those flush draws, straight draws. And he's played his hand in such a funky line that it doesn't look like a king when he bets this river. He's gone pretty blocky, 200K. Going to get snap paid off by a bootball who's seen enough. And David, you're shaking your head.
Oh, a bit like what you said about the game tree there. We just sort of leapt out of it from the get-go and made for a somewhat confusing...
Merit poker optimal. We've referred to it in the past. That felt like one of those hands. And the stuff you see occur here, you might not see other places.
Yeah, it's kind of mergy.
Battling out here. These gangsters. 21 of them left.
هذا ما بينبلش.
They're just warming up.
ما هو دوتين.
They've got a high roll in main event, yeah.
هذا عم فكر اثنين.
Yeah, we've got
في اثنين
the
بينت.
final table of this tournament tomorrow and then straight into the high roller. Day 2 and 3 of that, I believe. The 3-day tournament.
I think we're covering just the final day, if I believe.
Oh.
Correct. They'll be starting tomorrow. High roller. Day 1 tomorrow.
So we might have a cash game, perhaps?
Or a, maybe we just have a game. Commentator 3-way sit down, play till one of us has it all.
Keep the cameras on. Dim the lights. Shalukia eyeing up the newly replenished stack of Gazarian here, wondering if he can get a sneaky one through.
Oh.
Comes with 320. 325.
I like
and
Juma.
Juma.
Juma just wakes up with it at the right time.
No.
The Butchers, the Djangos, Cowboys, whatever you want to call them, they're there in all their glory. The hand that cost him a bunch of chips. Ironically, Kazarian's got exactly the same hand again, ace queen, although when he sees a third player enter this pot, that ace queen's going to shrink up considerably.
Now, we've seen Shalukia willing to play post-flop in a number of different situations, but he is right at the bottom of his range with not really a particularly
He's
playable one.
below his range. Let's go. He's below. Another one who's left the tree. And kind of a clicky size again, a little different, of course. Stack sizes the way they are, position he's got. Playing against the Rangers, but not that much shallower, but still kind of a small size. Of course, he's just trying to entice some action.
Well, Juma back to 4 million with that one. A nice pick
up. Give us a smile, Juma. Things aren't so bad. This man's always smiling, at least inside.
You think you bluffed you?
No.
You no bluff?
No. You bluff?
Really? No, I
small blind
maybe small
300,
bluff.
big blind 700, and the 700, dealer shall
King
have a
queen.
real good luck.
Bluff? No.
King queen?
Yeah.
Bluff.
No. Offsuit. Suit I call
Oh, and
offsuit.
Juma with another wired pair here, the Johnnies.
I watch you. Ace 10?
Ace queen.
Ace queen?
The Johnnies,
No.
eh?
Really? But
Really?
ace really. Enough, I think, for ace queen.
You ace queen fold? Or king queen, good move.
Now at
fold
3.5x.
Curious and
You
curious.
only double up, you ace queen. Okay, I fold. Good table.
It's very peculiar when players have these very open sizes.
I should fold ace queen.
Fold,
Try and
fold,
work out what they
you
mean.
Fold? Ace queen.
No.
No, you fold. Million
We
%.
saw that the last time it was kings.
Offsuit?
Yeah,
Yes.
that was a 3x, wasn't it? And 3.5x here with jacks. It seems just min opens with non-premium. I hope that's not a
Because I know you're too much.
pattern that always repeats itself.
Maybe four
Somewhat exploitable.
I big free bet. You problem. You problem stack for bet fold.
For bet.
Yeah, you stack. Big stack, okay.
I play post.
Well, let's see what he does with ace 10 suited.
You, no problem.
2.5.
Okay, we're all over. We're just all over the shop at this point.
Easy table.
Let's get the book. Let's throw it out the window. See if it floats.
But we are 7. No way for it. No, I don't fold.
You only one option fold.
I'm sure no.
Still disappointed in ChatGPT's ability to come up with a name for our rodent wizard.
You stack, only fold.
It gives me hope that there's still a role for writers in this world.
А что, не так?
Just listening.
I don't.
Ну, ты как считаешь?
I didn't listen too much.
Plus one raise, I have free bet, free 25x. Watch option is queen of suit. Me fold, watch.
Me or win?
Big broad smile from Shalukia there.
Against gear.
Even not
Alright.
against him.
Don't worry.
Nice
fold.
hand. Queen Jack suited, getting
Million
raise it up
%.
for the men boot barrel. The old ace 5 suited on the badge.
Yeah, definitely a 3-bettable one here for Bernard. Also flattable off this stack. You definitely want to do a mix. A little bit of study in a spot like this. And Tripkin with a opportunity there to stick it in. Turns it down.
Yeah, kind of tough. I think actually got much better with tea. Kazarian with a suited ace himself. Coming along. Seeing if he can make something happen. And he sees 2 diamonds on the flop. There's a good chance he can make something happen.
A lot of chips in the stacks of these guys right now. Shlukia with the gutter is going to take a stab. We know Bernard's likely to get out of dodge here. He's obviously got 3 hearts in his hand, but it doesn't seem like enough. Yeah, out he goes, and Gazarian with the diamonds going nowhere. Not really a spot where he can raise, I don't think, so probably going to come with the call. Although these guys have made a liar out of me a few times.
These two are great.
Absolutely brilliant.
Gia finding a queen on the turn. Actually taking an unlikely lead in this pot.
Yeah.
Action checks to him, and no reason now, I guess, to bet David.
Unless he goes for one of those advanced blockers, but no, I agree. I think you want to check in this situation. Unless he decides on something like 150k. Oh, a big bet, actually. Wow.
Wow.
Well, getting just about the right price. A little surprised to see the fold there.
You see the jack.
Wow.
It's fun one to see.
No block.
Now
Yeah.
No block.
Confusing.
Really?
It's always difficult out of position
Really
to
no
get that extra bet.
You see.
Right, cool there, and then what you do? You hit, what you do, you miss, what you do.
Jack queen block.
But I guess you're facing an opponent that's bet twice, so you might feel kind of good about your hand then.
Pari. $100. Let's go.
Jack queen?
Yeah, Jack queen.
Nobody.
Okay, king queen, Pari. You jack.
You jack.
King jack. Pari.
Claiming king queen, forgetting the fact he
Jack
tabled a jack.
I think maybe Jack.
Pari.
That's brilliant.
I feel maybe Jack.
Okay, you 2 hand. Называешь как будет.
Juma with the pocket 4s and the 2.6x open again. So ace 10 and 4s go into this smaller sizing.
Yeah, big pairs and the big sizing.
Too much. 100 call. Always.
Pari.
Okay.
Pari.
You 2 hand.
Juma back up to
Max,
4.5 million now.
Yep.
Ты называешь
It's been a nice little recovery from 3 million just a few moments ago.
Kilo for that 5 cents is open. Mr. Mihai.
Okay, no Pari.
No Pari. Pari.
Paris.
Paris. Paris sportif.
La France.
Vive Chirac, vive là.
Je m'appelle Vincent Dompelé.
Comment tu t'appelles?
Je m'appelle...
Comment tu t'appelles?
Comme si, comme ça.
It's an international flair.
Shripkin opening off a stack of just 14 bigs here.
Trying to sneak one through, but he's not going to manage it. Kazarian waiting behind. A couple of ladies. The Gagas.
А, 20.
He's gone for this kind of inducing sizing, which he can get away with because he's the kind of player that does have some nonsense in here.
Pass.
3 passes.
Yeah. I meant pass before the flop. I didn't mean to bet 100,000. Can I have that back? A little grin, as if he got away with something.
I was like in my bed. I don't want to bust him now. I was saying in my brain, I don't want to bust him now. Till final table. On final, last 3, I put pressure on him.
We got a little friendly short stack pack from earlier. Things have changed somewhat.
No?
Bless.
No.
You didn't understand? But you spoke a little bit. I said, what is your name?
Josh,
Josh.
you know my name?
I don't know your name.
She's like, how does no one know me? How do you not know me in this place? Come on.
It is Josh. Josh, to Josh and Russian.
Ria.
Josh. Josh. Josh.
George. George.
No, not George.
Your name?
Harut.
You Indian, yes?
Raisin, take it
Indian.
for cover of.
Indian guy. No, please. No. Arab and Indian. 50-50.
I am Lebanese Armenian.
Yeah, yeah. Ah, you are Armenian.
Also.
I Georgia.
You Georgia.
50-50 Russia, Georgia.
50-50 coin flip.
You Armenian, Libanian, I Georgia, Russia.
Ermem?
You
Ermem?
buy pictures?
You Ermem?
Buy pictures? You Armenian language, no?
I don't speak
Ah,
Armenian.
no. Buy pictures. King 4. Buy pictures.
It's nice that we're listening in on their little, they're like first date, getting to know each other.
Patrick Josh. Georgia. George.
Our producer Milbudas suspicious that this is George's way of
My
getting
name
inside
is
people's
George.
heads.
And I eat fishes. But I say I am
Give me
fish.
my chips.
Give me my cheese. With this laugh also.
I think I might take a little bit
People
more
will be scared.
these questions to get in that head. Because Arian,
He lost too much in this
he
hand.
knows his way around the base.
It's okay, I make flip, I win back.
Чай снимает, уж трансляция, финиш.
That's
Знаешь, что трансляция?
Dvorov defending with a jack, finding another on the flop.
Капут.
Juma with the swift check back, picking up a wheel draw on this completely
But
rainbow
Kabut-
board.
Да уже работает, по-моему.
Уже работал и опять отрубили.
Да ладно.
Вот тут.
what's annoying him
What did you have?
against you. I will tell you. Actually, I should make it light, but I didn't make it light.
Only way to win chip, it was Cove.
No, I had queens.
Huh?
Queens.
Only way to win my chip, it was...
I don't want to cheat. But also, we can go all and we can see. But now I think it's a good idea to 3-bet light.
Large bet maybe the order of the
Maybe not
day
now,
here for
I wait.
Govorov. Try and polarize himself a little bit to miss draws. Quite like to see something in the region of 3/4 to full pot.
Looks like that's where we're heading. He agrees.
And this is the kind
Queen's
of bet that
not
could
good
get
hand
looked
to
up by
trap, I
Juma
think.
here. Create enough suspicion.
Use your phone like this.
Juma
Put phone here.
does find the fold.
Like, don't let
Not
them
gonna
see
fall
that
for
you're
it.
using the phone. Like this.
Yeah, may
Like
well
in
have done.
school.
It's possible to fall for that one. The ball patch checker view for David. We go wide on the aerial. Just make sure everyone's got fully thatched on top.
There is an element of cruelty when a camera crew decide that that's your weak spot and they go after it. A cursory glance at recent episodes of Game of Gold.
I was wondering if you were going to go there yourself or had to walk all the way down the path, but you've gone there. I like it. Please carry on.
No, I think that's enough. I think that's enough for people need to figure out what I meant by that themselves. Juma with the aces, would you believe it? Kings, jacks.
Just flatting, trapping. Trapping with the boots. Here we go. Booble with the 8-9 also in the big blind. He's going to be able to come along one more. What a great spot this is to have aces.
Dreamy situation here. Okay. 8-9 of hearts definitely has a little something something.
It's working.
Is he gonna fire out a little bet here? He probably is.
Just like a little one to save, having to check and face maybe a bigger bet. Not like to fold.
Goes for 1/3 here. Really the kind of board that you're gonna raise it up on, I don't think. If you're Juma. No. And that brings in Poop Bull, who obviously has the same gutter.
Yeah, a little different though when you're the one flatting against the opener, right? My point is, if it comes the jack, Ace-King is only in one player's range here.
Now, definitely a card Gazarian can represent coming from under the gun +1, but at the same time, King-Jack has just come in. So maybe it's a little dicey.
Jimmy's pretty unlucky here that neither of these two have anything on them. Queen-10 board when they both put chips in voluntarily. Certainly expected to have some pair and gut short right combos there that wouldn't be able to fold for the 300k.
I like the flat from Juma there. Trappy. He had, what, 4 chances behind him for someone to wake up with the hand as well. So big recovery for Juma.
يلا باي.
Juma, option to enter once more. Getting back towards that 5 million chip mark.
You live in Georgia also or Russia? Moscow? Cousin? You visit Georgia also or no?
Looks like Shripkin is going to give him a spin here with the 8-6 off. Obviously, with that short stack, you can realize pretty much always looking to take any piece and bring it to showdown now.
Right, no disaster to ever flip a piece and go broke. You don't lose that many chips relative to the blinds. Gonna whiff Queen Jack Templeton. Really has gone the wrong way for Script Kid, despite having that amazing spin up.
Yeah.
You think the poker gods are just slow rolling him?
It is a tease. I suppose there's been at least a few ladder jumps since then.
You smoke?
Okay, the 8-9 suited. Which category does that go into? The 1, 2,
I smoke.
5? Oh, that's
So
the
go
min.
into the mins. Really speculative.
40. I stop. 10 years now.
Anybody is picking up on this bet sizing tell
100.
and will pounce here.
Bootball's lost all his powers with his health. Come on. Get that cap back on. Blue and white, baby. Gazarian dominating 10-8. I wonder what he's thinking about. Look, yeah, there we go.
There's a man who knows a bet sizing tell when he sees one.
Ah.
Yeah, incredible. I was going to say, he's the one who knew because he faced the big open, he had the ace queen, ripped it in, got lucky.
No.
Hey, she messed up.
He's gone for a nice chunky sizing here, clearing out some of the speculative stuff.
Stopping a hand like this from peeling. Stopping a hand, much better hands from peeling. In theory.
Oh, hello.
Well,
we
throw the theory out the window. You get a dominated hand to call.
Elle me tue celle-là, à chaque fois elle me tue. Faut qu'elle change, j'ai envie de partir et de plus revenir. Jusqu'à qu'elle change cette gueule de
would assume that would be all you need in this situation.
Right. Queen 6. Sneeze and win.
Quarter pot. Lovely sizing from Gazarian.
This will surely get the job done.
Kind of nice for Gazarian to have some backdoor potential there, obviously on a club or a 7 or a 9. So it has a little bit of something going from. Nicely executed. Really not a lover now of how it appears Juma's bet sizing teller has been used against him cruelly there. And 100%. That is what Gazarian picked up on there.
Incredible. You were like, is anyone going to pick up on it? We found a man.
You fold? Flop.
Flop, fold.
On 45 minutes now of that ticker in your top right.
Yeah, we've
being
been
immobile.
We've been stale on 21.
Shripkin all in with the Queen 10 suited, gets it through. Back to 545k now, 11 bigs. Lines will be going up in about 15 minutes or so. We'll have a short break before then. Players will go on a 15-minute break. James Dempsey will be replaced.
Irreplaceable, some would say, so good luck with that. Average stack is 2.1 million at this point, so he's still over 40 people on average. We'll creep below that. And the way these guys play, they need a lot of blinds. People battle in merit. So I'd expect a flurry of bust outs at some point soon.
Connector for Shripkin, not a tempter.
I want to put shards. Shards, I want.
Shards?
Shards.
Shard? What shard?
Like raise, what raise was. He want me to fold ace queen suited. Ace queen off.
Dream up.
I think it's
Gia
never
playing
fold.
one out
I don't
on
know if he's joking.
ace 4-4. Gia coming
He's
out with the
joking,
bet,
yeah.
holding a queen high.
Yes.
The best hand, but he's getting
Maybe
floated.
it's too much deep
All right,
ICM.
Juma's fully back involved now. He's engaged. David, he had his little quiet period.
And this EV spot is not very good for
Such a
compared
dry
to the
board
table.
to
So it's better for
here.
you to fold so I
Obviously
can see
some
bet you a
king
bit
highs have to stick around, maybe even queen highs. 10 highs, you think you would have got rid of them.
Wow. Backdoor wheel for Gia. 30.
It does feel like a king high, so I'm not sure what sizing Shlucky is going to choose here. It does go small, half pot. Obviously, can't get looked up. Will he face a raise? No.
Serious now.
Guys, during the break, we will move that table. We will switch.
How much will be break? How much will be break?
How many minutes? Break? 10?
Victoria?
Victoria?
How many minutes is the break?
Okay, so we have a 15-minute break coming up shortly. Obviously, we're pretty close to the 18-player mark, at which point we would have another short break to shuffle up the tables. In the meantime, anyway, we'll cover off. Open things up here with the 8s. Tripkin, well, no fold equity. Gets to let that one go pretty easily. Gazarian, on the other hand, likely to stick around. Probably a flat with the suited ace jack. Maybe a 3-bet with the offsuit variety.
I like it. I like where your head's at.
Luckier now, say King 10-0, which is more of the squeezable variety than it is the flattable. We'll see if he elects to go for the aggressive line. Certainly nothing wrong with fouling this hand, but it is kind of a candidate.
He thought about it.
Juma getting a little reduction here in the small blind. Only one player to act behind him too. He's gonna let it go. I feel like Juma of 20 minutes ago, when he was reeling a little bit, might have been speculative there, but
yeah, he's reset.
Yeah, he's rediscovered his equilibrium. And Pomerev, again, great discipline, letting go the ace-6 there. I like it. Not easy when you've had a tricky enough day.
Oh, wow. Govorev, Jin, finding an 8 on this Jack 8-4 broken board. Gazarian with top pair, top kicker, and the backdoor flush draw. Buckle in. This one's going to get pricey. Both players convinced they've got the best of it.
Yeah, Gazarian with so much of it, he might raise here.
Against such a small bet.
Don't really want to flat here and face quite a number of cards. Your hand is amazing right now. Does decide to take it slow. Is this a pathway to saving himself? Well, that's a terrible card if you're Gazarian. Cover off. Feeling like he has a lock on the hand now. Wondering how to extract best.
Right, this is the thing, because he bets small enough that all these draws are still in there. He doesn't mind those draws sticking around now, having made a boat. At the same time, wants to size in a way that will allow him to get this in by the river. But that's kind of, that's an option that's not really available until now, the way this hand has played out so far. Going for the much smaller sizing here. Again, trying to Queen 10, 9-10. Don't go anywhere, guys. Come on in. Make that straight. I'll give you a spin. And does Gazarian now decide to raise turn? All that in mind. Seeing the two small bets.
I think he's probably just now got a call and call almost every river situation. I know where your head's at though, James.
He wishes his opponent a bet bigger, but raising not really an option. 6-7 getting there, not much of a consideration for either range.
Yeah, Gazarian could have lost an extra $500,000, one suspects, in this pot.
Does Govorev go over bet?
Well, if he could see Gazarian's hand, he certainly would. I think he might check, thinking about those draws you mentioned too.
And he also might check thinking Jack's always going to bet. But he's got all the 8s. His opponent must have a Jack or a missed draw.
Yeah.
Or 9s?
Well, he has gone for the full pot size bet here. And this is a tough one because he's really told the story of an over pair, let's be honest. It's not really the story of a set which turned into a bout. As we said, we thought the sizings might be slightly different for that. This is actually very much like you're up against kings or queens, or maybe you're just good and the guy is tripling off. Tough spot for Gazarian. He could also be up against the same hand. I think that makes some sense as well.
I beat King Jack.
I was about to say, and does he beat value of King Jack? Gazarian believes it's possible. Well, we saw Gazarian do this earlier. He said he cannot have to say what the hands he's got, so he says what he can beat. And as soon as
King Jack I beat, but I don't know what you have.
Govorev hears that, I beat King Jack, he knows he's getting paid, surely.
Kazarian has some spider senses. The fact that he didn't make a quick decision here and is really in the agonies contemplating this one. You know, end of the day, it's an under the gun open and a triple off on Jack 8, 4, 4, 5. It does represent a lot of strength, and you don't really beat anything.
And
like
the size on the river especially, right? Because he's kept some of the weak hands in, but when he goes big, he's targeting the Jack X, not the parts. But then
I don't know if Kazarian might sniff this out. We saw him take a long time over one earlier, got the clock called on him, as you recall, and then ended up flicking in the call that we thought he maybe could have found the fold on. I don't know if we're in similar territory here where he's going to bemoan his ill fortune but still snap it in. There it goes.
Makes the call. Gets the bad news. Gavorov finally gets something going.
It was his hand.
Huge pot to end the frame. Monstrous situation ends with Juma having that 4.3 minutes. Despite having had bigger than that, going smaller, very happy to finish the frame where he is. Yogi, I'm sure, the same. And look at that Gavorov recovery, having been the victim of a big bluff. Kazarian tried to find the fold, couldn't do it. I can't blame him. 23 bigs left when we come back at the 30k, 60k level. Skripkin, of course, being a bit of a yo-yo. Understatement, perhaps, David. He's down with 90k. 9 big blinds, pardon me.
Yeah, he's had a yo-yo experience, but so has almost everybody at that table. They seem to build a stack, lose a stack, build it back up again. Fascinating frame to watch.
Really
I'm going to now do this awful thing that commentators do to their co-commentators before they leave.
Well, the good ones don't, but carry on.
Point taken. Give me a prediction for the next 2 hours. We're going to go from 21 players. Presumably someone will eventually be eliminated.
Someone will bust. That's a safe prediction. In the next 2 hours, a player will bust out of this tournament.
Prediction number 1. James believes we will not finish the day with 21 players. Give me one other prediction. Talk to me about one, at least.
Kazarian goes on a spin up despite having lost that pot and bags a top 5 stack.
Nice.
There you go.
I like
Happy?
it. I'll take that. I'll take that.
All right. Should we go to break?
I would love to go for a break.
All right. Well, I won't be back in a few minutes. David will. Andy's in the wings. We'll see you guys in about 10 minutes.
Gangster. What is your business, Mr. Shelby?
Import, export.
Poker player.
Gangsters.
Gangster.
Gangsters.
Gangster, of course.
Gangster, always.
Gangster. Gangster, for sure.
Queen 10. Take queen off.
Queen 10.
Jack 10.
Queen 10.
7 deuce. I have no idea.
Queen 10.
Queen 10. Queen 10.
Escobar.
Al Capone.
Al Capone. Al Capone.
There he stands alone.
Vita Corleone.
I want reliable people that aren't going to be carried away.
Pablo Escobar.
Yo soy Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria.
Al Capone.
Al Capone. Marlon Brando.
Making re-entry.
Rebuy. Rebuy.
He's firing on the turn.
Re-entry.
Re-entry.
And you re-entry one more time.
Okay, one more time.
Re-entry.
I don't know.
I really don't know why they should do it like this. Make sure there's no more action.
To make people aware.
To make sure that everybody make all bets.
To get the attention of the players.
To wake up the player sleeping.
To wake up the old guys like me. Just to make sure that everybody is watching.
Cadillac maybe?
Lincoln. Cadillac, I guess.
Old school car.
Rolls.
Four-wheel car, big cars.
Cadillac.
A Volga. You a Buick or Cadillac.
Wagered it all. A little bit of good news for him. One of the live aces in the Bootbull's hand. You are that guard. You go around asking when you're all in. Did anyone fold an ace? Anyone have a king?
I do not.
It's your maneuver.
I am not the wizard pigeon.
Fair fight.
The wizard rat. As we do see two aces folded. So Yurosov in pretty good shape.
Look at this, if Georgi were to pick this up. Oh, we have 3
asking,
milli.
Asking once more, Demps, asking the dealer.
Yeah, he won last time with the pair against ace-king. I don't think there's any sense of fair in poker, but maybe throw a bit back to the community in this one. Let's see. Oh, there we go.
Oh, never easy. Yurosov looking wholly disinterested pre. Does flop bottom set. Gotta dodge the 4 remaining queen stamps to find that double.
The needle ace. Just got a fade. One more card. Get himself back up to just shy of a milli. That's what he's going to do. The needle king.
Yurosov fades the Mamacita. Finds that double. Back up to 900k.
I've been watching too much Ren Lin play poker lately to see why.
Yeah.
And he's tucked up behind that hoodie, not happy.
No, a very rough hand for him. He was in a very good spot before that hand. Obviously, it didn't work out. Blind v blind spots can often be that way. You know, they sort of, you end up with wider ranges. You end up in a sort of a more manu dynamic.
And there's personal history, we always know, especially in Merit where the players all do know each other. They're players. Juma, straight back at it, finds ace-king first hand back. And Papa Petru, pardon me, finding the 2 8s for his sub 10 mid blind stack. No surprise to see him moving it in over the big stack. And well, hasn't been met by snap, I don't think. So he's going to feel pretty good. But there we go. Is going to get the call. And first hand back, we're off to a race to perhaps secure this mini pay jump.
Even that incredible slow call with the ace-king there is slightly tilting to your opponent. Like it's small, it's almost negligible, but it's there and it's designed, I think, very much to needle.
And when he got called with the top boat, he didn't turn it over straight away. It was sort of like, oh, you've called, then he sort of, oh, okay, and just casually flipped one card at a time rather than excitingly turning over the boat as Juma finds a king on this king-queen forward, reducing Papa Petru to just the 2 outs heading to the Turner River.
It's not looking good for Papa Petru. Going to go out in 27th position unless there is a miracle 8 of hearts or 8 of clubs on this river.
You set that up nicely. I almost thought it was going to happen. Not to be. Papa Petru.
Balance range in that spot.
51.70 the payout. Everyone now guaranteed $5,920. The chip, I'm thinking I'm going to go buy cash now. I'm itching. Just to have some chips to try that.
Sort of mesmerized by that one, yeah.
Juma, suited connectors, sort of. Under the gun. Sitting on 5.3 million, playing 20k, 40k. Thinks better of it.
now over the 4 million mark now, which I think is maybe second place in the tournament.
Gazarian, 16 blinds on the button, looks down at King Jack and says, all of it. Barney in the big blind, even shorter, but has an ace and just says, whatever, let's go, run it, whatever you want to call it. Because they're in the covering stack, but only just.
After this 10 minutes break.
Two of our shortest stacks at the feature table, about to go to war. A fair fight.
10, 10, 10.
One more 10 to end it. Oh, wow.
Well, now an ace or a 10 to save it. Hasbani having going behind on that turn. GG's for Hasbani. Out in 25th.
My friend, okay, we are a little bit closer to our goal.
Matson Skripkin sat next to him, obviously. Clung on for a win. Skripkin, 2 10s. Threw on the board a minute ago. He may need to hit one here because Skripkin may look him up at King Queen. And they will be off to the traditional race. Just 5 blinds, no real option. Juma may come in behind. 2 6s.
Maybe you double.
Great result for Skripkin here, who
is
now going to go up against an underpair as well for a triple up.
Triple he don't want.
Go triple.
Any argument here, David, for Juma to squeeze out the man in the middle?
I don't think so. I think it's actually quite a nice flash here for 4 more bigs. Sort of like a set mine, but into a dry side pot where maybe, you know, your opponent with 2 overs won't go after it. Although you predicted it, he has gone for it. And wow, he's also priced Cholukia in such a way where maybe he'll like this price. I don't know.
It's a lot of actual chips to be calling off a King Queen offsuit. And there we go. He knows there's no follow-up. He knows it has to be some sort of real hand.
And he's
what a spot for Skripkin.
It's an amazing spot. And oh my goodness me.
Good job. Jack,
what an incredible.
Your partner?
It's my partner.
What? He's his partner, yeah. It certainly feels that way in that hand. Skripkin.
Thank you.
If a king or queen comes on this board, we might see fireworks.
There it is.
Oh ho ho ho! Well, Juma.
What did you have?
Spades forming. None relevant. Only a 6 will send Skripkin out. Skripkin lives again, courtesy of Juma's squeeze.
Not just surviving, but getting a triple up instead of a bust out.
Right.
Incredible
plus
swing.
The 2 blinds in there from the big blind and the ante. You only start the hand with 5 blinds. I don't think we have the wrap 2s.
So?
Get on this.
I feel to play. I play. I don't feel to play. I don't.
Speedy Gonzalez.
Was he a rat? A very warm welcome back to you, ladies and gentlemen out there. This is the Merit Poker Gangster Series Day 3 coverage. My name is David Lappin. I'm alongside Andrew Headley. Gotta say, I'm loving these graphics. Just got a trip down memory lane there for any of you. Maxime Chilot was featured there. He, of course, won one of our big events a couple of stops ago. Yep. Ari Kleiper, classic player here at Merit, and Mar as well. So lovely to see those guys and take that trip down memory lane. To get back to the here and now, Andrew Headley, we got a prediction from James Dempsey in the last frame. He said that the man to watch out for here is Gazarian, who he believes will go back on the tear now after that little misstep in the last hand. Hard to call it, a bit harsh to call it a misstep perhaps.
Tough spot.
You saw that spot. What's your analysis?
Yeah, very interesting. We've seen Gazarian, of course, earlier on in the coverage, making some very accomplished plays, but just a couple of times he hasn't trusted his instincts. We've seen them be very much spot on. Almost made a hero fold earlier on, then once again there. And to be clear, that would be a hero fold. Top pair, top kicker, not often that we're going to lay it down. But when our opponent goes sort of this small, and then this somewhat, you might call it quote-unquote greedy pot size, as I heard you commentating away from under the gun, pretty under-bluffed, I think, but very, very difficult to fold ace-jack. Hard to critique him too much, but yeah, didn't quite trust the instincts. We saw he wanted to fold. Maybe that's one of the only things that we could sort of critique him for.
Yeah, I think overall he's played tremendously well. We see now that we actually have a new table here. I thought we were going to stick with the group of 7 because obviously we're on the cusp of a table reshuffle at 18. Yep. But I am delighted to say we've got Ankit Ahuja here now to watch, who's got 3.2 million, and I would say must be one of the front runners for this tournament when you think of the pedigree he has in this very poker room. Actually, do you know what? I just told a lie. It was in the other poker room in Diamond, but it's still on location in Merit.
Yeah, absolutely. Ankit, of course, very accomplished player. I've played a lot with him over the years. Good friend of mine, always rooting for him. There he is, guys, in your picture. Ankit's the type of guy that will play fearless poker. Actually went deep with him in a live 3K recently in Ireland. He ended up hero calling his tournament life off. It was incorrect on that occasion, but, you know, Ankit is definitely not scared to look stupid, which, you know, sometimes as a poker player, a pretty important skill to have, David, especially, you know, as you approach the business end of the tournament. Definitely one to watch.
Totally agree. I've had the pleasure and displeasure of playing against Ankit on a few occasions, most memorably this year in the Irish Open on a day 1, and yeah, we battled away. I took very trappy lines against him. That was my perception of how I could best extract from him. He was very upset with me that I did that. I just want to say, and thought I was a big donkey for doing it. So this is my opportunity to critique your play with the benefit of seeing your hole cards, Ankit. Quite looking forward to this, I must say.
Beautiful stuff. A little bit of comeuppance perhaps coming his way. Yeah, Ankit, absolutely lovely guy and fearless on the table. Intrigued to see how it develops. As we come into the action, Sun, new player on the table, comes in 5.2 million in chips, David, has a lot, opens with King 9, going to be a defend there from Oleg in the big. Nothing much to write home about for Oleg. Ace 9-5 rainbow. Sun, of course, still good here with second pair. Comes in with the typical size on these sort of dryish textures, around about a third pot. Not too much working for Oleg here, David.
No, Oleg, one of the regulars here in this poker room. I remember a couple of deep runs at the last stop. Very accomplished player, very, how do I put this? Sort of just calm, clinical, composed sort of guy. Nothing flusters him ever. And yeah, very difficult to play against. But yeah, basically has whiffed this one. Going to have to let it go, I'm afraid. Yeah,
very deliberate style. This in the old solver world, if you had the Jack-8 of diamonds, for example, here, with a backdoor wrapping around the 9 against the board, that is, of course, wildly over c-bet from the button, but does decide to just let this one go, as he should. Not much working for him in terms of backdoors. This is our first exposure to the sun.
The sun is rising.
Very sorry, guys. Is it the first time Sun's been on the feature?
It is.
It's my first look at him since being in the booth. There is Hertzos, who we saw earlier. She's showed a very impressive, tight, aggressive style, winning most of the pots that she entered. The signature Donatello card protector. Who you choose in Lappin if you had to choose a card protector from the Turtles?
Well, This question was put to me already.
Oh, it was?
I better stick to my former answer, Michelangelo. Pizza, cowabunga. I think he had the nunchucks as well.
Oh, everyone loves a good pair of nunchucks. As we see Sun picking up pocket nines in the cutoff. Of course, has all the chips. He's going to be perceived, David, to be pretty wide here in LP. Picks up a strong one, pocket nines. Here we go. Could be round 2 between himself and Oleg. Oleg working with 32 big blinds, ace-jack off. Certainly a couple of options open to him here, David. Definitely not folding. Can get on board with both peel and 3-bet.
Yep.
Feels like a little too much to shove for 32 blinds. But he does decide just to send it. Certainly fine. Gonna be winning money at chips. And Sun here.
Well, wow.
Facing 32. Feels like we have to call.
Here's how my brain works in these spots. And I'll try and pretend like I don't see the hand there that Oleg has. I feel like a lot of the shoves are the 5s through 8s or the 4s through 8s. That they're the hands that sort of benefit the most from a shove like that. So I have to call with my 9s. That's what I think. Now, nice to see Oleg obviously balances a situation like that up with some overcard hands, which obviously are necessary to protect against that hand. Maybe a king-queen suited would work in a similar sort of way. But yeah, I think I find a call with the 9s.
Yeah, it's interesting the deeper we get towards the final table. Obviously, ranges are going to change a little. But for chips, we are going to see a bunch of these sort of 30 big blind reshoves. Hands like ace-queen off, you know, hands that are just happy to take it down. We see here Oleg sending in the ace-jack. Like you said, David, some hands like a king-queen suited, king-jack suited type holding, but also some of those low to mid pairs, I'm inclined to agree with you. I think here we're almost never beat, so to speak, in Sun's spot.
Yeah.
Potentially Oleg might just jam a hand like 10s, looking to just pick it up without showdown.
But it's literally that, right? Like he's capped himself in such a profound way here that 9s just becomes so high up. If he does have 10s, so be it.
Yeah.
You would have got that in anyway. If he 3-bet the 10s, you'd have stuck in the 9s. So same outcome. So now I think you have to go with this because you're flipping or you're massively ahead.
I would agree. I think the only good reason to fold here is if you perceive yourself to have a huge edge on the field. You know, we do have 90 big blinds or so to work with. But I agree, David. I think that our hand's just too strong. Sun deep in the tank.
Big moment for both players here. Oleg, all his chips in the middle there. Sun, well, you know, he's got a big stack, but this is a lot of chips right now. It's probably an average stack in the tournament that's just been put in his eye.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of future game also, if we call and win, right, we're going to have upwards close to 8 million in chips. And that is, you know, the type of stack that you can really go ahead and leverage pressure as we approach that final. Given it a lot of thought, though, David.
Yeah, that would be 1/6 of the chips in play with 21 left. That's a pretty sexy scenario.
Doesn't look thrilled with it. I think the longer it goes in these scenarios, the more chance that Sun lets it go. Of course, easy for us in the booth. I do agree with your analysis, David, that we're almost always a favorite, and sometimes a dominating one. Oleg, he's having a little sip of his coffee. Oh, there we go. He's made the call. And here we go. Potentially the biggest pot we have seen in the tournament, David, on feature. Close to 4 million in chips.
Did Oleg call clock and half a second later get called? I think that might have happened.
Wow, he clocked himself. Oh, there we go, right in the window. Ace, ace-6. Oleg. Looks like the most relaxed guy in the room. Vaults into a huge lead.
Oh, would you believe it?
Drills it on the turn. Sun drills the 2 outs. That coffee tasting more bitter as time goes by. And all of a sudden, Oleg just 16% to remain in the tournament. He is out of here, David.
Wow.
What a run out. Just like that, we lose Oleg in 21st place. Sun up to 7.6 million in chips. What a run out, Mr. Lappin.
Extraordinary hand.
Very big call.
Oleg is going to have to bow out here in 20th place or so. We are edging ever closer to that switcheroo. We will be changing the feature table when that happens. It could be happening any moment here. It looks like there's a little bit of commotion, so maybe there's a bust out on an outer table as well. Ankit's actually spotted that there's an all-in on another table and is saying, is it going to be my big blind next? Maybe we should play this hand, just in case, guys.
Yeah, potentially on the cusp of the final two-table redraw. What a run-out that is for Sun. As you see there, 126 big blinds, guys. Good for 40. Good for 41% of the chips in play. We are going to have that redraw, David, so going to jump into the studio, a little conversation with your good self until we have those final two tables redrawn. And there you go.
That's an extraordinary moment, because when you think about what's just happened there, in the blink of an eye, in the turn of a turn card, we've gone from having, you know, the stacks kind of level up a bit. We've another guy with 4 million, Sun's back down to 3.8 million, Ankit's obviously already there with 3.2. We'd have a real tussle on our hands between those stacks, but now instead we've got an overwhelming chip leader in this tournament.
Sure, yeah, Sun, 126 big blinds at this stage is absolute piles. They're going to be very intrigued to see how he approaches, you know, that chip lead. We know that some players like to get real out of line now, obviously recognizing that players want to make the final. Bigger ICM considerations and things start to come into play, so we'll be intrigued to see how he approaches it. But yeah, overwhelming chip lead, and everyone else at that table has the work cut out, I'd suggest, Dave.
You said Ankit Ahuja is fearless, but he's also no fool, and he will understand how this ICM pressure can be leveraged on him. To some degree, he's one of the other bigger stacks, mightn't be too bad, but all the small to medium stacks for the next foreseeable future, frankly, for the next while, are going to have a really tough time.
We will come back to that when we come back, guys. It's being told in our ear. We're heading to break, so we will be back, guys, in around about 10 minutes' time. We'll be able to touch on these things. 3 minutes break, guys. Join us back in the booth soon. Cheers.
Gangster.
What is your business, Mr. Shelby?
Import, export.
Poker player.
Gangsters.
Gangsters.
Gangsters.
Gangster, of course.
Gangster, always.
Gangster. Gangster, for sure.
Queen 10.
Take queen off.
Queen 10. Jack 10.
Queen 10?
7 deuce. I have no idea.
Queen 10.
Queen 10. Queen 10.
Escobar.
Al Capone.
Al Capone. Al Capone.
There he stands alone.
Vita Corleone.
I'm unreliable people, people that aren't going to be carried away.
Pablo Escobar.
Yo soy Pablo Emilio Escobar Gaviria.
Al Capone.
Al Capone. Marlon Brando.
Making re-entry.
Rebuy.
Rebuy. He's firing on the turn.
Rientri?
Re-entry.
And you re-entry one more time.
Hey, one more time.
Re-entry.
I don't know.
I really don't know why they should do it like this. Make sure there's no more action.
To make people aware.
To make sure that everybody make all bets.
To get the attention of the players. To wake up the player sleeping.
To wake up the old guys like me. Just to make sure that everybody is watching.
Cadillac maybe?
Lincoln.
Cadillac, I guess.
Old school car.
Rolls Royce.
Four-wheel car, big cars. Cadillac.
A Volga. You a Buick or Cadillac.
Welcome back, guys, to the Gangster Series warm-up event. 453 players entered this one. We are down to 18. This is the business end. This is where people want to make their moves ahead of tomorrow's final table. We were beginning a little bit of a chat about ICM and the creeping implications of that as we move towards 10 left, which is essentially where it peaks.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you, Andrew, if you are Yongchen Sung right now and you are faced with that particular spread of chips at your table, who are you picking on?
I mean, basically, as Sun in your mind, it is sort of go time. I think typically we want to target the middling stacks the most. They have the most to lose, so to speak. You know, guys like Daniluk there, who we saw in the range of sort of 32 to 37 bigs. These are the guys that, you know, it's very awkward for them to 3-bet you. It's very awkward for them to defend properly, you know, out of the blinds. So these are guys that you want to go for, whereas the short stacks don't have as much to lose. You know, they're pretty much happy to not so much gamble, but they're looking to get it in, looking to spin it up as we approach that final table. So yeah, as we said before break, I'm going to be intrigued to see if Sun does decide to ramp it up heavily or just sort of sit back and let things unfold naturally. Intriguing to see. One of those mid stacks here, Kararslan in the small. Around about 35 bigs, ace-7 off.
If I win the tournament, I buy them.
Looks like a raise, David. Looks like 2.5x.
No.
Yeah, it does. Make it 150k to go.
Yeah, funky sizing here, 2.5x, not default size. You usually limp this spot or maybe go for a 3 to 3.5x. But clearly he feels comfortable sort of inducing some calls and playing out of position.
Yeah, I think what we just touched on there, you know, for these mid stacks, and Herslaws is one of them. Very difficult to defend for chips in spots like this, especially now she has this pretty much exactly 30 big blinds. So decent little adjustment there, I think, from Kararslan, perhaps recognizing that the big blind is going to cut out a lot of the bottom of the defense and gets it done with the 2.5x. See Ankit Ahuja in your picture there, who we just touched on. Certainly one to watch. I've played a lot with Ankit, and he really doesn't care. He's not scared to put the chips to work, even as we approach these the final knockings before the final table, excuse me. Sun there with a tower of chips, David, fresh off that huge flip win with the 9s.
Yeah, not a great seat for Ankit. 2 to the right of Sun there. You'd prefer a seat downwind of him.
Sure. Folds round 2 Hertzaws in the small, content to let the 6 deuce go. Very welcomed walk there from Cantur. Oh, jeez. Oh, I'm going to let that one go.
It'll need to be on screen for more than a second
it
for
will.
both of us there.
Very natural reaction from myself there to the terror of having a split second to pronounce said surname. That seems to be one of the biggest challenges here at Merit, David. The old surname pronunciation.
You just say it with confidence, and then inevitably Vitautas Mulguras will come into your ear and then say it properly, and then you will just try your best to get there each time. We talked about a funny dynamic where either I or James or yourself have a go at one, and then there's sort of an onus for your co-commentator to say the same thing, even if that's not how they probably thought it should have gone. But we'll do our best.
Should be fine for us, David. Saying things with confidence that we're not entirely sure is correct. We've been doing it most of our lives, I'd say.
That's it.
As Yurosov, very accomplished player from earlier, sporting that Rick and Morty t-shirt, comes in for the raise. Pocket nines, and we have the exact same confrontation that dispensed with Oleg moments ago. A little different here, David, hijack versus cutoff.
Yeah, it is a little bit different, and I guess Karslan may come with the flat that we, I think maybe deep down in our heart of hearts, felt could have been Oleg's line.
Yeah.
At that moment, obviously, this is a different one he's calling in position as well. It's not exactly the same situation, but just almost like what kinds of hands do you sort of just slide into the flatting range just for ICM reasons and for, you know, lots of reasons, to be honest. Action on Ankit, who may very well complete here.
Yeah, it does close the action. Connector. Is closing the action, is getting a very good price. Expect Ankit to call, and he does complete.
How do you profile a man in a Rick and Morty t-shirt?
Very difficult to do, isn't it?
Is he loose? Is he? What's he doing?
I'm going to throw it out there. Myself being a bit of an old fart, so to speak. I know that it's one of the cool shows that you're supposed to have watched. Never seen it in my life, David.
Oh, it is a cool show.
Oh, it is?
Oh, it's a very good show.
I knew you were cooler than me. Sigh.
Okay, a little bit of something for everybody here. Karslan with the gutter, the overcards, the jack of spades in hand. Yuroslav with the overpair, and Ankit with the gutter and also a spade in hand. And maybe the kind of board that he feels he could lead in a spot like this.
You can see here, Ankit, the wheels are turning. I think he is considering going for that lead, David. We don't see it so much on monotone. You know, on these flush completers, does look like he's going to go for it. We do see lots of these small stabs out of the blinds on these low connected boards. You can see Yurosov, even with a hand as strong as pocket nines, already somewhat in the blender. Has a player behind him. Very difficult. Tough to proceed. Don't think we can ever fold, of course. But has to be wary of Karslan behind him,
who is now getting an even better price and also has a decent amount to...
Yeah, these are the really tricky spots in Hold'em. Multi-way, you know, we are very often going to be up against a bigger spade in either Ankit or Yurosov's hand, which makes this extremely tricky to proceed. You know, if we do improve and make our flush, could already be dead.
We don't love an ace.
No, there really are no clean turn cards as such for Karslan, holding just that jack of spades. You can see here, very difficult. I would not fault this at all. I think this is a very reasonable flop fold. So we can see, of course, he was in good shape against the two holdings, but I think fold is good in the long term. 3 of diamonds on the turn, David. It does complete of 4 cards to the straight. Now Ankit, all of a sudden, after that flop lead, it starts to get a little dicey for him also.
It does, but then he has 6x in his range, and Yurosov, if he is in there with an ace, will not be loving life, frankly. The 9s won't be loving life either, so I don't know, I think Ankit could well come with the bet here. He looks like he could have 6-7, 6-8.
Absolutely.
Could just have the 6-3, could have flopped the flush anyway.
Yeah, very tricky spot, this multi-way for sure.
I think if I'm Ankit, I actually do go for it here with the half-pot bet. I think you do put the pocket pairs completely in the blender.
That's very much the case. You'd look to have called it, David. We did say Ankit is fearless. Blasting away here. There you go. Pretty much exactly half pot. And Yurosov here. I mean, what can you do? Absolutely awful spot to be in. I think we just have to give this one up, David. Basically the worst hand that we get to the turn with.
Yeah. Brilliant play from a Hoosier there, it must be said.
Yeah, spots like this are just so huge. You know, a multi-way there to get 2 dominating hands to fold. Earns that pot.
I see them.
Very nicely done from Ankit. Very much the sort of unsolved spots, David. These three-way, four-way pots. Even for us in the booth, it can be tricky to call. Ankit there, recognizing the turn barrel would get it done. Bravo to him. We see Sun at 7.6 million, David. What a time to be alive. Let's it go. Folds around to Daniliuk with the king-queen. Does come in for a raise. And Yurosov, fresh off the discipline fold with nines, finds the cowboys, David.
Yeah, and interesting now, given the stacks behind, would he choose to flat ever?
He does. I think I like it. Okay, we do have position, do have some rejam stacks behind. So we see the solitary 6 of spades for Gabdulin.
Yeah, he may come along for the ride here with a variety of other cards.
Yeah, does make the call. And look at this, it's the disaster card for Daniliuk. Fortunately for him, the coordinated 10-8 behind it may save him from committing too many chips post. We shall see how things develop.
Yeah, I wonder if he always c-bets here.
I think typically we want to check a lot on such a coordinated board, but having that king of diamonds and make him feel a little bit more comfortable with his top pair, does decide to c-bet for half pot.
Yurosov with the player behind, not loving the idea of letting that range in as well, but the flip side of that is this is not the board that Kings absolutely loves.
Absolutely. Would expect just a call and reevaluate here on later streets. Does do just that. Big turn card upcoming here. Yurosov working with just a shade over pot behind. 120% back. It's a very innocuous 3 of clubs. Very tricky here for Daniliuk. No real reason to think we're no good. Very tricky here. Of course, running through the various options, looks like double barrel is incoming. Makes it 375. Around about a third pot. Shade over 40%.
And kind of the same equation, I guess, for Yurosov. Unless he wants to just drop the hammer now, feeling like his opponent's shown enough interest, maybe with ace-queen.
Yeah.
Queen-jack, king-queen.
I mean, this is a very strong line from Daniliuk. Multi-way, bets flop, barrels turn, undeterred. I think you could be right, David. Yurosov might decide just to run it here. Is a lot of bad river cards, of course, for pocket kings. Looks like he does just call again, though, David. We're off to a huge river here. 1.6 mil in the middle.
Yeah, stacked pot ratio less than 0.5 to 1. And there is only one bet left. And it's not even a particularly big one. And, well, Daniliuk is going home, I feel. Or, sorry, well, he won't be the one going home. He is Yurosov covered, but how does he even get away here? I don't think he does.
Yeah, the cleanest of clean runouts for pocket kings. Daniliuk here decides to check river. Perhaps try and induce a bluff from a hand like ace-jack. Something like this that has to call flop and turn with the double gutter.
Yeah, maybe diamonds as well.
Intriguing, because Yurosov shouldn't have too many diamond combos from these positions.
Well,
very interesting, because does Yurosov shove worse for value? I would suggest not.
No.
Probably going to take showdown, David, with a hand like Queen Jack. Certainly would. Can't imagine he would jam it. All of a sudden here, Daniliuk in bluff catch mode.
Oh, well, he's not having to face an all-in, which is nice.
Wow, he's gone for the milky size. 20% pot on the river. Very creative from Yurosov. I think you do see most players here, David, just send all of the troops into battle for less than half pot.
Yeah, and it's depolarizing. Daniliuk now thinking maybe the only hand he has a chance against is the same hand. Queen Jack wouldn't value this thin, I don't feel. King Queen may just about feel like this is the best. Ace Queen certainly would, and you're behind that, so.
Yeah, pocket tens, pocket eights, ace queen are the typical value bets here. You can see that Yurosov with the pre-flop trap doesn't like it, David, and it's true. Very rare that you're going to see a 20% pot bluff here in position. But the price is so enticing.
King of diamonds in your hand as well here.
Yeah, that's not a good card to have. No. Absolutely. Getting close to, what is it, 6-1 on a call. You can see Daniliuk hating it. This would be an incredibly disciplined fold if he can find it. So tough to do, David. 2 million out there. Very intriguing sizing this from Yurosov. I did not expect it, I must confess.
Yeah, you're really not allowed to have too many bluffs when you go this small.
Sure. Felt like a shove or check back situation. Knows he has the best of it now, of course, facing this prolonged tank. Credit to Daniliuk, David, for tanking this long. I think most people just see the price and think it's just too good.
Chips are in hand. No, not anymore. Oh, wow.
Look at that.
Wow.
Fantastic laydown from Daniliuk. Have to commend him, David, for finding that fold.
Fabulous.
As we did say, it is extremely under-bluffed, but to still find the discipline to fold a hand as strong as King Queen. Very well played, sir.
Yeah, truly awesome hand reading there. A lot of players just think about the value of their own hand and think, well, I have to go with top pair here. I can't exactly give up for 1-6 pot or whatever it was, but
yeah,
he really did break down the hand in depth. And actually, I think maybe the small, milky sizing cost him, because against the larger sizing, more bluffs can be in there. And you know, while it's not a super polarizing bet because it is only half pot, it would have allowed for more bluffs and maybe been more likely to be called.
Absolutely, have to agree completely. Very disciplined laydown. You never know, David. Tournament poker, this laydown could be the difference between him mounting a recovery or being crippled. Very impressive stuff.
Well, just 5 or so hours ago, Andrew, you and I had a little friendly gentleman's wager on how many players we would get down to. Very much feels like we've both nailed it. It's going to be in that zone.
What did I choose? 14.
You had 14, I have 12.
Conclusive proof that we're living in a simulation here. Daniliuk manages to fold against the pocket kings. Wakes up with them the hand after. Working with 25 bigs. Comes in for the min raise. And here we go. Potential danger for Kankurtaralanli.
Beautiful.
Close. Almost.
It's almost like a sentence.
There we go, hearing in my ear that he goes by Alper, and Alper is in some trouble here. Tough to blame him, has decided to send it with ace-jack, 14 bigs. Perhaps David thinking that Daniliuk could be a little steamed after that last pot.
Yeah, and I wonder if Ankit is thinking he he could get in there with some dead money in the middle. It would be a bit dicey. I feel like he's going to let this one
I think
go.
Anke experienced enough here to recognize pocket sevens. A little too weak here, facing early position raise and shove. But Alper is going to need some help. He is getting snapped off. And here we go. Big moment here for both of these players. 17 players left in the 2200 warm-up here at the Merit Gangster series. Alper needs help, needs one of the remaining 3 aces in the deck. He is going to be leaving in 17th. Jack in the window, David. Improvement for Alper. Flops top pair. Does have the backdoor nut flush draw working for him. Certainly above average flop. Turn though, no good. Deuce of spades. Alper now down to just 5 outs to survive. No good. River is the 5 of hearts. We do lose Alper in 17th place. Great run. Unfortunate there to run into the top of Daniliuk's range. We are down to 16 players, guys.
Много ставят флоп, когда ты хочешь на терне all-in поставить.
Ace-Jack, David, quickly becoming the death hand here on this feature. Dispensing of Oleg and now Alper in 17th.
Yeah, he will take home $8,600. Next pay jump is at 15, when it will be a cool 10K.
Again, into the 5-figure paydays. This is, of course, that time where the players start to believe that the dream is real. 2 tables left. Typically, when you start to believe, David, right, it could happen. 16 left. Getting very close to the final table. Very impressed still by that fold from Daniliuk. Possibly a tournament defining fold. Getting away from that king-queen. Quickly rewarded with the big chip up with the kings. So we see Ankit here. Jack 10 off in the cutoff.
Да, мы когда будем это заказывать уже? Хорошо, трубы горят уже.
It's going to open. It does have a couple of short stacks behind him, I believe. And also the big stack of sun to contend with. Does make these cutoff opens a bit less attractive. You know, a guy on the button with 15 bigs, big stack with all the chips. Both can give you different subsets of problems. Abdul in here with Jack 9 of diamonds. Wow, he's going to reshove pretty wide. And look at this.
Wow.
Sun, the big stack. Cold finds ace queen off. Does feel like it's too strong to fold, David, versus an LP open, 15 big blind reshove. 925K is the price. Do have the benefit here, I think, that Ankit will always play very honestly. I think if we do decide to continue, then we can just call. Ankit would have to find an absurdly strong hand to rip it in for 3.5 million. Wow, if Gabdulan gets this one past Sun, be a miraculous escape.
It really would. Ace Queen.
Doesn't look happy with it, David. He is now reaching though. Gabdulan, of course, praying for a fold, but in they go. Like the call from Sun, as we said, Ankit here really not going to be able to do too much.
His hand is super live.
Is live. Did see Ankit fold a jack, but be very happy to see that he is just against 2 overs. Gonna win this pot, David. Still 4 out of 10 times or so. Look at that! What a flop! 6, 7, 8 with 2 diamonds. All of a sudden, Gabdulan, 2-1 favorite. And he drills it on the turn.
It's not over.
It's not over. Sun could redraw. Still drawing live here to the higher diamond flush. Bricks out. Jack of clubs, river. Gabdulin turns water into wine. What a result there. Does go for the light rejam. Sun finds it behind, but Gabdulin finds the double up. He is back up to 2.1 million.
Have we just witnessed the end of the Sun run?
Oh, beautiful. Tell you something, you're never slow off the mark, Dave, with these. The dealer counts down the pot size.
Bizde sen de short değilsin ki, senin kaç vardı?
I must say I was somewhat surprised to see the pre-flop reshove. Gabdulin perhaps played with Ankit, knows that he's capable of being pretty light in the cutoff. Very well timed double up for Gabdulin. Small hit to Sun's stack, still with over 6 million, over 100 bigs.
Did you have a call in hand?
No. But I was going to fold.
Gabdulin there just inquiring with Ankit whether he was going to make the call. He's given a resounding no. Cards back in the air. Round 2, Gabdulin in the cutoff, fresh off that big double, finding King Queen of Hearts. Beautiful looking hand. 35 big blinds now. Does it make it 125 to go? Daniliuk here dominated with a hand that must defend. Going to be defending this one, David, with the Queen 10. Does outflop Gabdulin 10-7-8. The old domination rotation. Daniliuk here now with top pair. Gabdulin with a lot of backdoors and overs of his own. Not one of them. 5 of spades on the turn. Typically going to see a lot of small bets here, I think, David, from the big to deny equity and get value from our 10. That is exactly what Daniliuk decides to do. 40%, shade over. Likely to get the job done. Gabdulin here with just king high. Does let it go correctly. Daniliuk continues the recovery.
Yeah, very impressed by Daniliuk.
Да не, ну, у меня много и не было. Максимум 2 миллиона было.
It's been a great day of action here, David, on day 3. Had a lot of those kind of spots post, a lot of very interesting hands to dissect. And great for us in the booth. Hope you're enjoying the coverage at home, guys. 16 left here. Merit $2,200 Gangster Series warm-up. Round 2 Cadra on the button. Ace-3 of clubs. 50 bigs deep. More than enough to open.
For any of the Nikolai Ponomarev fans out there, he did actually bust just before the table redraw at 18. He was the 19th place finisher. Just looking through some of the recent bust outs. Maxim Shripkin also eliminated in 20th. We saw that one obviously on stream. Vitkauskas just won a chunky pot off Bernard on the outer table to make his way to 3.5 million now. So plenty of action in both places right now.
A little bit tired. Yeah.
Ankit going to get involved here with the sevens in early. Kadra giving the 6-4 suited some thought, more than some thought. He's actually going to flick out a call here in position.
Yeah, this is spicy. Very wide. Maybe a little glimpse into the overall strategy of Kadra.
It's not Christmas yet.
Certainly not a hand we're typically going to see called. Leads to a more interesting decision now for Yurosov, David.
Yeah.
Does look like a potential squeeze candidate.
Yeah, this looks like a spot where you can make it a half milli to go.
Yeah. Absolutely. Typically not going to see too many pre-flop traps here from Kadra at depth. Have two nice blockers, two strong hands. Yurosov does pounce on it. There you go, David. You called it. Shade over $500,000. 9 big blind squeeze. We can see the timing pretty good. Just so tough here for Ankit to continue, even with a hand as strong as sevens. Are facing a 40 big blind effective stack squeeze.
Yeah, I feel as though Ankit's actually considering the shove here more than he is the call.
Yeah, these spots are super tough. Of course, he knows Yurosov very capable here of finding a light enough squeeze. But of course, the times that you do rip it in and get called, you're often in very bad shape. Ankit, though, is a fearless player in such spots. Does think better of it. Gets out of the way. Kadra now wondering what he got himself into. Gets out of the way with the 6-high.
Punished.
Bravo.
And one wonders if the 3-bet would have come if not for the flat call there.
This is it. This is poker so interesting.
Yeah, because it's a spot where you definitely mix with King Queen O there. You'd probably 3-bet sometimes and flat sometimes.
Yeah.
So interesting when a loose flatter like that can really juice up the situation for a squeezer.
Absolutely.
Bravo.
Really looked like he wanted to put that one in. We've all been there, Ankit. It's one of those spots, David, right, where it just feels like too much to rip it. Even though you can feel it. You feel it in your bones. This guy's light. I can get it through. In any case, action back on Kadra. Ace-5 of clubs in the hijack.
Oh, and Yurosov again with the tempter.
A very pretty looking Queen 10 of clubs. This one falls comfortably into call, I think. In position. Wouldn't expect him to do anything else. Yeah, it does. Just decide to call. Been impressed with how he approaches the game. Seems to have very good grasp on his ranges from various positions. Kursod's here. Very wide defend here pre. Certainly a little wide, especially with ICM coming into play. Does complete. Wow, look at this.
Oh,
here we go, David. Nut flush draw for Kadra. Open-ended straight draw and flush draw for Urasov. Bunch of money likely to go in here post.
This could be a 6 million pot. Urasov open-ended and got the flush draw. Must be feeling so good about his hand. And really it does fall into the raise category.
Absolutely. You know, lots of our draws are going to just call. I wouldn't be shocked to see him just call this one either, but would be some potential to bump it up. Has decided to take the passive route. You know, we do have position. We have such a good hand. But when our opponent does get it in against us, it does shrink up considerably. Here we go. 10 of hearts on the turn. Urasov finds the offsuit pair that he needed.
Oh.
And we're out to the outer table, guys. Big all-in in progress.
Well,
look at this. Looks like 2 people all in already.
Some carnage on both tables simultaneously. Although I would argue that 10...
Look at this. We have a... Sorry, David.
No, you're fine.
I think he folded Jack's face up.
Ace Queen against pocket nines.
Yeah, it looked like Jack's on the button. Could have potentially had a massive 3-way all in.
There is a queen.
Queen in the window. On it's Georgi, who is all in with nines. I think that's an 8. It didn't react much. Does look like the ace queen wins the flip against nines.
Georgi's going to ship over about 1.6 million in that pot. I was just going to say, I think the 10 might interestingly have slowed things down, but this will not.
Oh my goodness. Looks like turn went check, check, David.
Yeah, every reason, both players with maybe a good reason to play pot control on that turn, but now, my goodness me.
Oh, this is an unmitigated disaster for Urasov. I mean, one thing that could potentially save him depends on the river size in here from Kadra. If he goes extremely big, then Urasov could just call. As it stands, round about 70% pot. Going to be so tough here, David, not to get felted.
Well, what's probably going to happen here is Urasov does raise to 1.4, 1.5 million, and then we'll face the shove, and it will be supremely gross.
If Urasov finds the just call here, we could file it under play of the tournament. How do you find it, though, David? It's almost impossible.
Exactly what you said a moment ago. If this is a pot bet or over bet, I think we can find the call. But to a sort of, what, half pot bet?
Yeah, it's around about 66%.
Okay.
Round about 60.
Yeah, I feel like you have to look for value in that situation.
I have to agree.
But I think you can go thin, so I think you can just kind of, not quite click it, but maybe make it 1.3, 1.5. Somewhere in that region, and then obviously faced with the disgustingness of the inevitable shove in your eye, you can maybe hold back that 1 million. I don't know. Oh, it's horrible.
Very hard here, specifically the flush also. If you can just find a non-all-in raise, David, we are going to witness the sickness. I would be absolutely shocked if he doesn't raise here. Even worse, of course, holding the queen and 10 of clubs in your hand, blocking ace queen, blocking ace 10, blocking king queen and king 10 of clubs. Makes it even more of a mandatory river raise. He has to raise, David. I can't see anything else coming.
Well, we're not going to have a hijack open from a huge amount of king X of clubs. So it would have to be the ace small card.
He's done it! He's found the just call! Urasov, how have you done it?
I know you have it.
Kadra gonna be so disappointed.
Amazing. You feel like you've won the pot you just lost.
What a play from Yurosov. Finds the just call on the river. Unbelievable stuff. I cannot believe that he found the just call.
I agree.
He just sensed it, David, deep in the tank. Talks himself into just calling. Kadra looks as if he's seen a ghost. Cannot believe that he doesn't have an additional 1 to 1.5 million in chips. And if Yurosov wins this tournament, David, he's going to look back on this as the defining moment. What a hand. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, very above the rim.
Scenes in the booth. The action is not slowing down, guys. Gabdulin, pocket queens under the gun. I'm calling it now. We need a merit poker strategy segment. That hand would fall magnificently well into it. What a call, Yurosov. Unbelievable.
Like, he's basically got to have ace rag of clubs.
Yeah.
Or ace king of clubs. Ace king is possible, but no other ace sort of, you know, middly cards or strong cards are possible.
I'm blown away that he finds the just call. Look at this, Kadra. Potentially a little steamed there. The most steamed I've ever seen somebody after winning a 1.8 million chip pot. Comes in. Actually a very reasonable 3-bet candidate. You know, we do jest. Bumps it up with King 9 of Hearts. We can see this one never getting through. Gabdulin working with 30 bigs behind and pocket queens. Not sure what Kararslan's thinking about here. Are we on a pay jump?
We are.
We are. There you go.
Yeah, we go from 8,600 to 10k even, from 16 to 15. So I think players who are in that sort of, you know, 20-something big blind zone, probably thinking, well, I won't go too far, but I'll take 30 seconds, I'll take 20 seconds. Why not? Maybe it'll earn me a pay jump.
Yeah. Gabdulin here, going to take a little time. Does have a combo that likely just 4-bet rips it pre for 30.
Certainly. Jacks
and queens are going to fall into that bracket, especially with just 16 left. Still reeling from that flush over flush situation a moment ago. Looks like he's going to go for the 4-bet non-all-in, David. Makes some sense. Going to try and maximize value and induce some potential light 5-bet shoves out of Kadra. We have seen that he likes to get involved wider than most.
Yeah, he's set a compelling price now, but King 9 of Hearts really is an ugly looking holding.
Yeah.
When facing an under the gun 4-bet.
Yeah, I don't think we can ever really consider calling. Potential suicidal 5-bet jam is avoided as Gabdulin continues to chip back up.
İyi oldu senin için bence böyle.
We've got to get someone to interview Yurosov about that hand. Unbelievable.
А ты над пасом реально думал какое-то время, да? Или над пушем? Над рейзом?
No turn bet meant no straight. So maybe he's going through all the possibilities of hands that could call.
Absolutely.
That was my card.
He's thinking, I can't actually target that many hands, and I am putting it at risk.
Yeah, maybe correctly lands on. I don't know though. I mean, look, all the overpairs can check turn right to pot control and then still bet river. Like aces with the ace of clubs, kings with the king of clubs. Gonna have to hero as a good amount if we raise river.
He has opened, all cards are cursed.
Outrageous hand. Loved it. Loved to see it. And we did suggest that Sun might ratchet up the aggression, holding the big chip lead. It's 130k here with Jack 10-0 under the gun. Yurosov ditches king queen. Round 2, Gabdulin. Very dusty, looking Jack 6. Lets that one go.
Too easy. Too easy.
Иди. Причем Сань широко сит открывает вообще. Третий бокс широко открывает. Назад. Король даму разные сразу вытянул. Знаешь, если бы Гея сидел, понимаешь, если бы Гея сидел бы на трибетил бы быстренько. Вот такого вот что-то. Он еще сегодня в поле восьмерки заебашил, 50 бобов в таком спите, поэтому друг наш в красном ему. Поэтому как знаю.
Cards back in the air. Still down to our final 2 tables of 8. Round 2, Herzog's been extremely patient. Finds pocket 9s here, off 25 bigs. Ankit with ace deuce off.
Devil on his shoulder right now.
Absolutely. Certainly not a typical hand we're going to use, but I know Ankit, extremely, supremely aggressive. Is going to decide to use that ace blocker. Try and get Herzog's to fold pre. We can see it's never going to work here.
280.
Herzog's with just 25 bigs.
Looks like coming with a call here could still get outmaneuvered in this hand.
Yeah, potentially so. Don't hate it though. We do keep the weaker parts of Ankush's range in. Ankit's range, excuse me. King 3-7, all diamonds. Herzog's, of course, still best with that 9 of diamonds in her hand as backup. Ankit here very likely goes for a very small flop bet. Try and fold out some suited holdings of Herzog's, some ace-jack, ace-queen types, of course, that don't hold a diamond. Expect him to bet around about 140 or so here, David. Something very small. Just targeting pure whiffs.
I like it.
Can still get some better hands to fold, of course. Very small is the order of business.
I think you may have nailed it here.
It's gone a little larger. Looks like 180, 165, yeah. Just a shade over 20%. Very nice sizing choice. Herzog's, of course, with very easy check call. 3 of hearts turn. Of course, the most interesting part of this hand about to go down. These are spots that the very best in the world can continue to still maneuver. Tough to continue to barrel, of course, here for Ankit.
It's roughly a pot-sized bet.
It does wave the white flag. Understandably so.
Now, if you're Herzog's, do you ever fire a blocker here?
I think you certainly could. Definitely an argument for it. But perhaps if you think your opponent has given up, can be more prudent to check and look to check call. Hard for Ankit here to represent, you know, too many very, very strong hands that bet flop and check turn, I think, on such a wet texture.
I wonder to what extent he knows that this would be a fishy line, but he might still try to bulldoze it.
Not impossible. You know, trying to run through plausible hands that would bet, check, bet. Aren't many of them, David, really, for value. I think it's a good give up. Herzog's there, very liable to check call. I think she knew she was best. Very nice pickup for her. There's an additional 165k there by not 4-bet shoving pre. Just an illustration there, though, of what we said. Anka, he's going to go after it. You know, ace deuce off, okay. Can look too wide. Against a cutoff open, though, certainly going to work enough of the time, especially with the ICM pressure. On this occasion, Herzog's far too wily. Gets it done post. We see Daniliuk here under the gun. Non-stop action here on this in this frame of tonight's action. Ace Queen of Hearts. I feel like we haven't had time to draw breath, David, at all.
No,
look
it's been relentless, and those kings have been everywhere.
My goodness.
More often than not in the hand of Yurosov. Again, bit similar to earlier, will he come with a raise? And if he does, I think he can go for a larger sizing because it's sort of strong range against strong range. Or does he flat, knowing that there's a murderer's row of potential squeezers back there?
Yeah, I think he will lean to 3-bet in this specific circumstance. I think now that we have 30 bigs, facing an undergun open, we're not going to have too many flats, I don't think, +1. I think most of our 3-bet bluffs, you know, sorry, most of the part of our range that is a 3-bet bluff, we are still going to go ahead and 3-bet. And like an ace-jack, ace-queen off, potentially in there. Does make it 350 to go.
And tempting for Daniliuk to flat here.
Yeah, I mean, our hand is so strong. Of course we don't love this. Facing a +1 3-bet off 30 bigs. Quite often, David, is just exactly what it looks like, a premium holding. But ace-queen suited, it just feels too strong to fold pre. It's getting a pretty reasonable price.
Yeah, and ace-queen will flop in a sort of straightforward way for you most of the time.
Agreed.
Just need to be 25%. Obviously, may not fully realize, but as I said, ace-queen suited is one of those.
Look at
wow.
this Daniliuk.
He has made some incredible above-the-rim folds.
What a spider sense. Beautifully done.
Does he have Yurosov's number?
Apparently so. You know, this one, I can get on board with fold just in-game. Ace-queen suited, you think to yourself, am I being exploited? Is this hand too strong? Once again, Andrei Daniliuk makes a very accomplished laydown.
Well, the guys have had some friendly banter between hands. One wonders if that plays into the dynamic where, you know, when you try and take advantage of each other. Is he really going to come after me under the gun one? I'm not sure. Anyway, look.
You can't trust poker players, David. You know that.
Well, that's one thing that's certainly true. Well, look, there we go. The short stack is 34 bigs. What a structure this tournament is. Now, I do feel like more of the chips are on this table right now. Average stack in the tournament approaching 3 million. We have a few 2.5 million type stacks out here. Sung now, with the blinds gone up, has 81 big, 6.5 million. And, well, yes, with the blinds going up, it's not 34 anymore. It's 25. But that's still very healthy, and a lot of players with a lot of maneuverability. No super short stacks, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely fabulous structure. Myself and James were talking about it earlier in the broadcast. One of the benefits of being in such a beautiful location, David, James was saying, that, you know, the players, there are other things to do. There's more scope, I think, to have a 4-day event here than, for example, GUKPT Bolton. Do you want to spend 4 days in Bolton with me, David?
I don't want to spend 4 minutes in Bolton.
But what is going on at this table? Sorry to cut you off. Another premium. My word.
Well, Perso's, is she going to come with a raise similar to the last one? Looks like a small enough raise. I like it.
Yeah. Very nice. Just a shade over 5 bigs. We do see a lot of this as stacks become more shallow. You can, of course, get a very attractive price on your 3-bet bluffs. You can see Herzog, of course, has the rockets. We were calling them the bootleggers. Little gangster reference for you.
I like it. The boots, the bootleggers.
It was either that or the moonshines. What do you reckon?
So like bathtub gin, moonshine. Okay.
Bathtub gin, moonshine.
So that's what moonshine
I would drink
was,
it.
right?
Yeah, it was. That's right.
Yeah. There's a few different versions of it. They used to little prohibition trivia here as we watch Carter Aslan. Take a while before maybe finding the fold with King Queen O here.
Hand funeral, as Dara says.
Indeed. When prohibition hit, there were. Oh no, let's not tell a tale about 1920s America. And let's
we will come back to it in a
pay
moment.
attention to the action.
Yeah, wow, this is a pretty wide defend from Kararslan. Of course, whiffs heavily. 4-3-3 with 2 diamonds.
This is the one where you can go incredibly small.
Yeah, let's see if Herzog can find it. Lots of 10% to 15% pot bets here. Of course, representing an extremely nutted range. Yeah, it has gone a little too large, 40%. Sort of targeting the stronger pocket pair sort of range. Nut flush draws, Broadway diamond draws. Yeah. Would imagine, David, this is going to be too much heat.
I think the 150k bet might have been enough.
Absolutely.
To get the job done. This 400k, I'm surprised we're still in this hand. But again, remember, we are on a pay jump, so this could be a bit of a fake tank. I suspect it probably is, but I won't begin my prohibition story until it's over.
Okay. As we await David's tales of alcohol in the early 1920s, we do go out, guys, to our other table. Looks like a 3-bet and a 4-bet jam. Chips are absolutely flying on that outer table. Looks like an open, a 3-bet, David, a cold call, and then the original razor has now jammed. Now we have another all-in announced. Here we go, cutoff versus small blind. Did see the gentleman on the button fold jacks a moment ago.
Wow, looks like 10 jack.
Again.
10 jack was at it.
I think short stack here, open shoved with the 10 jack, and then we had action behind.
Okay.
There we go. 10 jack drawing dead to run in spades or a 9. Turn is a spade.
9 on the river. 9 on the river!
And he gets there. Backdoors a flush. And straight. Has the old rub down comedic shirt on as well. I know you're a fan of those. I bought this shirt with your money. And that money is being shipped to the cutoff.
So no elimination, and we are on to the next hand, so we can be pretty sure that the...
What is going on?
4K got the job done, and Ankit's turn for the aces.
Potentially the wildest hour of commentary I've ever seen. Just absolutely non-stop. As Ankit here opening with the bootleggers. I'm intrigued to see how Urasov approaches this, David. Of course, these low, weak connectors start to lose a lot of value as we approach the final table. I've been incredibly impressed with how he plays. Really like it. You know, I think players find it difficult to adjust, you know, these hands that you would always defend earlier in a tournament. Yeah. It's pretty hard to, you know, talk yourself out of it. You know, you're getting the price to defend, but 6-3 suited. Comes one of those hands that starts wanting to fold pre as we are down to the last few tables. Very nice play from Urasov, Daniliuk. Fantastic stuff. Be a great feature to watch.
Really has been. Okay, so picture it, 1920.
Okay.
Prohibition has begun. There is a allowance for whiskey's medicinal use, so pharmacies have whiskeys.
Okay.
The first speakeasies happened in the pharmacies. The pharmacists would overprescribe whiskey for its medicinal purposes to people who just wanted the whiskey.
Is that right? Okay.
Second fun fact, there was a dispensation for red wine at Mass. The Catholics and the Christians could still have their red wine at Mass. Attendance at Mass went up 40% the next year. It's true story.
Oh, fantastic. I'm sure that, you know, all of those fine patrons all just found a calling from the Lord. Right? That's what happened. As we see, the action continues to ramp up. Sun here opening with a set of hearts, as he should. Kadra goes for the light 3-bet. Hard to blame him. King Jack off, and Daniliuk here cold finds jacks. Now, we have seen him make some big folds. I don't see him fold in this one, David. Seems like a pretty mandatory 4-bet jam.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool spot here, particularly against Kadra, who's shown himself to be hand in the cookie jar on a number of occasions.
Yeah.
Sun obviously has been fairly snug given the fact that he's the big chip leader, but we can't be assigning too much to him either. No monsters under the bed here.
Absolutely.
Jacks are heading into the middle all day long.
In they go. And also, of course, potential, David, to pick up 900k here without showdown.
Epic.
Huge boost to your stack. Very, very likely that that's what happens. Kadra, of course, very frustrating. You stick your head above the parapet. We can see his timing was pretty good against Sun's holding. Not so good here against Daniliuk. Forced to let it go.
Huge pickup there for Daniliuk.
It really has played a very strong feature table. Correctly folding 2 big hands. Finds a great spot to cold for the jacks. You really are full of knowledge and trivia, David. How did you even know that?
Actually wrote an article this week about the comparisons between the nonsense of the online poker apps these days and prohibition. So
Did you really?
I had done a bit of research.
Fantastic stuff.
If you want to read that article, you can go to my Twitter feed at DK Lappin, or X feed as it's probably now called. It's probably the top tweet or the pinned tweet.
Mine's still called Twitter. They haven't hacked my phone to put the X on it yet.
Oh, wow.
Whereas my partner's is X.
Oh, how does that work?
I don't know. I've slid underneath Elon Musk's.
Please finish that.
I know. I need to finish it. Under the, what do they call it? Quick, help me. Under the
carpet.
Yes, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but I've managed to dodge it.
Under the pillow?
Certainly a chance that people could edit my commentary there and put me in a very compromising position. I'm just digging myself a deeper hole.
But yeah, I wouldn't have used the word position in that situation.
I did it on purpose for the comedic value. Allegedly. As we see Sun opening ace-jack of diamonds. Yeah, Karaslan here for sure. We've seen him do a bunch of this, I think, just looking to ladder. Can't imagine he's going to get involved here with 18 bigs.
I love a look at...
He does though, what is this?
Wow.
An outrageous time to choose this 3-bet, excuse me. Yeah, makes it 7 bigs.
So 40% of his stack.
It looks so strong.
Like a couple of 20 babies, 18 baby stacks and one like maybe
Can Sun sniff this out, David? Of course, always a non-zero chance that people are just clicking around. You're really doing this with a premium hand like aces or kings? Don't think so. Very confusing though, something we don't see very often. Kararslan committing 7 bigs of his remaining 17. Just 8 high. Sun very confused.
I'm very confused.
I'm very confused. What an outrageous move. Good work. And look at this. Sun has sniffed it out. Oh, and it's an absolute disaster now for Kararslan. I think you got to call it off, David. As horrific as this spot is turning into, 40% of our chips now committed with 8-6 of spades.
You have made a very messy bed, sir, and you may now have to sleep in that messy bed.
Do not envy him.
Credit to Sun for sniffing this out.
Sniffs it out. Put it in pretty quickly too.
The one thing nobody expected here was a tank. Now, again, remember, we're on a ladder jump. He may well be considering before putting these chips in. Could he just about...
surprising though. Like, why would you not just put 1.5 million in, right, and then tank? You know, you don't want your opponent to peel, right, in position. I'm not saying Sun would do it very often. Very confusing spot. I mean, he can't fold now, I don't think.
He's got to be about 27%.
Yeah, I mean, then he easily has it against the range of Sun. When these chips go in, David, if indeed they do, whole table's going to be shocked to see Kararslan's holding.
At this point, I think people think he does have a call that he's just deciding to tank here for the sake of the ladder jump.
You would imagine that's what he's doing.
Which I think will elicit a call of clock any moment now. Just in case this is the last we see of Kararslan, I want to say a young Jack Salter, perhaps. Little shades of.
I'm not going to lie, I wish I could pull off this look with such panache. I've never been a guy who can pull off the... Oh, he cannot.
Have a look at them. Yep, it's still pretty horrible 8 high.
Oh dear. Does re-reach for chips.
It's far from over, 38%.
I mean, of course, if you could see the cards of Sun, you're going to have to flick this in.
But now you feel like Sun has to be super strong, because you've tried to make yourself look super strong.
I mean, Sun, he's not going to fold ace, queen, ace, king, right?
Sure.
He's going to put them in, but I do agree with you, David. His overall range looking incredibly strong.
Can you call clock from the commentary box?
Let's try. Time. I believe the clock was just called, so perhaps we did. It does look incredibly cool in said shades. Can't be feeling cool now.
Sun is thinking, well, wow, if he doesn't call, what a great result.
Absolutely. Probably thinks that this is pay jump related. I'm not so sure it is, David. I think there's a chance he folds here. Ah, he must be calling.
Yeah. I think it is page up related, but I think it's also like the value of it is gone now, because once clock's been called on you and they're only a mere 2 meters away on their table, nobody snap deciding while you're...
Absolutely.
So you're not going to get this ladder jump.
5 seconds remaining here.
Wow!
Let it go! I had a feeling, David.
Wow.
Don't know why. Thought he was going to get away. Oh, it's a disaster, really, for Kararslan. Wow. Puts in more than 40% of his stack. Very badly timed 3-bet bluff. Never know what can happen, David. Could turn out to be a prudent fold. Feels like a misstep. Very non-standard spot. We've had everything today. Absolutely everything on stream.
Yani tabii. O 11, 12 bit blindlar da geçti.
Açacakları hiç oynayamadım.
Once more action afoot. Sun with ace-10. 7 million in chips still. Feel as if this entire segment has been one long highlight reel. This action folds round to Ankit Ahuja in the big. 6-7 off. Interesting to see Sun selecting a 2.5x as his standard raise size. Of course, it starts to put a lot more pressure, David, on defense. Ankit, though, undeterred, does decide to call with the 6-7. Does flop best. King, King 6. Small c-bet here from Sun. Ankit here with 2 pair. Typically, we do see a lot of check raising on paired boards, as we know. Ankit trying to decide what to do. It does look like he's counting out that small check raise, David. It's pretty much what we expect. Look to pick up the pot now. Deny equity, 2 hands like the one Sun has. Yeah, Ankit makes it 375. Sun, as we have seen, can be a sticky customer, but quickly releases. Ankit be happy to take that one down on the flop.
Yeah, great result. A smooth operator is Ankit Ahuja.
Anti and put?
Yeah, just anti. No, because this was here, so I was wondering if this was not here.
Big blind now.
Yeah, okay. Cool. I was feeling good for a second that I stole a red chip from you.
Action folds round to Yurosov. Now Kararslan, fresh off unfortunately torching a large portion of his chips, does find a shove in hand. Pocket fives in the cutoff. All in here, shade over 11 bigs.
9.
Ankit asking for a count. Can't imagine he's going to call off here with just Queen Jack. Oh.
Yeah, finding out that it's 11 bigs and maybe not 7 bigs is the
absolutely
key factor here.
Kararslan going to get this one through as he attempts to start the rebuild.
Yeah, and it happened at 21 as well, but our clock seems frozen at 16 remaining. It's been sort of fits and starts with the bust outs. That is not to say we haven't had plenty of action, my goodness me.
It really has been an amazing watch. So let me ask you, David, obviously this is my first time commentating for Merit. Is this typical? Like, you will see pretty wild action even as we approach the final tables? Is there more action here than, for example, in tournaments in Ireland that we've played in, or across Europe that me and yourself have been in? Or has this just been a particularly aggressive, active day?
I do think the card distribution has something to do with it. I think we have seen an inordinate amount of premium hands, but I also do feel like this room does attract players who like to gamble, who are fearless, who are, I don't think ICM unaware, but are sort of ICM disregarding, because they really do play for the win and for the top spots more than most. Obviously the payout structure is also conducive to maybe going for a little more than other payout structures would be, and I think that there's just maybe a sort of a YOLO fearlessness in these players.
In this part of the world, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense as we see Gabdulin wake up with a premium. 26 bigs, pocket jacks, very likely to go in, just whether he decides to 3-bet call or jam. Does decide just to send it. Can't blame him, out of position. Does decide just to rip them in. Yurosov here with just ace-10. Pretty quick laydown.
Ace-queen off.
That's the one he's hoping he got to fold.
I think that fold was a little too quick for ace-queen.
Short pull.
You fold ace-queen off? Yep. Yeah.
Gerçi 37 dakika kaldı zaten. Good play.
You have ace-king?
No.
No?
I had pocket pair. Good one.
He tells no lie.
see Herzog's with 9-10 of diamonds in the hijack. He really has showcased an incredible amount of patience, David. Been very impressed with her. Really picking and choosing her spots. Not gotten too out of line. Still firmly in the hunt here. Ankit peels in position with the pocket eights.
Oh, and a little spicy one for Sun here. Ace-5 suited. Could definitely go into
interesting.
Both ranges, actually. I think he could flat. I think he could squeeze.
Yeah, might give us some insight here into how Sun wants to approach using this big chip lead. Both options certainly open.
Herzog's with the 32 big blind stack, particularly vulnerable to a 3-bet. That doesn't have to be too large either.
Sure.
You can maybe get away against both of these stacks by going, you know, not necessarily 900k. Maybe you could do a 700 and something, and that kind of gets the job done, which is quite a good value way to do it.
Yeah, I feel like it's something in the 8 to 8.5 big blind realm could work very nicely. Here we go, is reaching. Ankit now very likely to be in a very difficult spot. With pocket eights, you would imagine Herzog's, from how she's been playing, will quickly get out of the way, and she does. We did see Ankit have faced a somewhat similar situation with pocket sevens. However, he was the original opener. Really depends how he perceives Sun. Has gone somewhat large, actually. 10.5 bigs. Pretty large squeeze size against, as you alluded to, David, 30 and sort of 40 bigs. Looks like he's not going to fold, right, when he makes it this size. Ankit perhaps factoring that in here. He may perceive himself to have a lot less fold equity than he indeed has against this particular holding. Does feel as if we would normally fold here, facing this action.
Tough man to get a read on his Son.
He sent it, David. He sniffed it out. Ankit, bravo to you. Finds the jam.
Oh, man.
Pocket eights, 40 bigs.
Again.
We can see he's picked pretty much the perfect moment. How much is this for Sun? 2.2 million to call, right? Getting 2 to 1. Of course, it's supposed to, quote unquote, call here with this suited ace. A lot easier said than done, though, David. Under the bright lights, against a potentially very strong trap range that Ankit can still have. Got to hand it to Ankit here for sending it.
Yeah. I don't think he can call here with the ace-5 suited. It's another 2.4 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2.4. I thought it was 2.2.
Yeah,
you are right.
3 to 45.
Like, even if he saw his hand, it's borderline.
Sure.
Now, yes, okay, there could be a king-queen in there. There could be a king-jack suited in there. But as you say, there could be some traps, although the traps, unless they're literally aces, are going to be the same as the you know, 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s.
Yeah, which is what you will see a lot of here.
I think this would be a foolhardy moment for Sun to gamble when he's sitting there with 5.7 million. If he lets this one go, still a huge situation for him to accumulate chips and make a deep run.
Agree completely, David. Of course, stack preservation, you are very unlikely here to be up against the hand you do well against.
When we previewed this frame, Andrew, you were very quick to say Ankit is fearless.
Yeah.
Ankit is not afraid to put it all on the line here, 2 tables out. He's not looking to ladder. his way to the final table. He's looking to have a big stack on that final table and find his way into the top 3 positions.
Absolutely. Does pull the trigger here. The old New York back raise. Speaking of prohibition, Son will be wishing he did not take a sip from the cup before squeezing. Great play, Ankit Ahuja. Well played, sir. Pads that stack up to 4.4 million. Unfortunate from Son. Good squeeze, good fold.
And well done you rhyming prohibition with wishing there. That was like sort of Eminem-esque rhyming.
Oh, you don't want me to start any Scottish raps, I assure you. Might happen later in the week when we've had a few Hugo Spritz.
Can we have Robbie Burns to the tune of In the Candy Shop?
I think pocket deuce also we are flipping.
I don't even have a response to it.
I'll do the
maybe not.
The background for a beatbox for you.
Maybe we were not flipping. Maybe.
Believe it or not, I actually read a Robbie Burns poem to my extended American family when I visited them. Doing all the lingo and everything.
That's a beautiful thing when it's...
For some reason they enjoyed it. I'm still not sure why, but there you go.
Oh.
I'm a man of many talents, David. You know that. Right?
And Robbie was a poet extraordinaire. So I want to hear that.
Prime example here of Ankit. Just how he plays. Likes to play fast and aggressive. You can see this one not going to get through. Comes with the wide open. Don't hit it. You know, approaching the final table, using the blocker. Seems pretty reasonable, even though it is on the wider side. And Gabdulin here with the ace-queen-O. I think typically we just call here in position. Can, of course, keep in a bunch of hands that we dominate. Gabdulin does decide to call. Round 2, Daniliuk. Very dusty looking king 6. From how he's played, David, don't expect him to complete.
2.3.
Okay, thank
you.
you.
See here, Gabdulin, dominant favorite pre. Right in the window, Ankit turns the tables. Flops middle pair on the king 4 deuce. This one could get interesting, David. Gabdulin with a hand that's going to have to continue with that backdoor nut flush draw and hard blockers to top pair. Ankit comes with check.
Yeah, and just a nut no pair, which can be good on its own.
Yeah, has more than enough hand just to check back. An ace on the turn here would be problematic. Does fade the 8 of diamonds. Ankit still best with the pair of 4s.
Maybe favoring a little equity denier here. Something in the region of 175, perhaps.
It can be somewhat tricky. We do, of course, hold that ace of diamonds, blocking any potential nut flush draws. And it is going to be difficult to shift any pocket pair with any size in. But you can deny, you know, some of those Broadway combos to clean overcards to the 8 with a small bet. Can potentially still get some value, David, from hands like Gabdulin has. Does decide to check again.
I feel like that was a genuine sort of pause for decision there, where he did weigh up the value of maybe firing out a small bet. Ultimately landed where you landed, Andrew.
Very interesting now. Gabdulin that comes with small. Perhaps for similar reasons, if he thinks Ankit has a give up, perhaps, you know, look to deny a hand like Jack-10 suited from realizing would really be one of the main reasons for this small probe. Of course, not going to get a better hand to fold. Ankit never going anywhere here. 430k makes the call. Clean deuce of hearts, river. Ahuja is best. Probably goes check-check, David.
Yeah.
I find it unlikely that Gabdulin turns this ace-queen into a multi-street bluff.
Yeah, and it feels like he's being pot controlled.
Yeah, it does. I think he's going to be aware that his hand is almost never good. IP, very intriguing if he does decide to fire river. Yeah, quick check, as we expected.
Yeah, Anka not 100% sure he would be good there on showdown. Obviously,
Sure.
there would be some pocket 5s, pocket 6s could be lurking.
Absolutely.
But happy to get that outcome, to know that he had domination rotated on that flop and it held.
Just like that, Ankit beginning to make waves, closing in on 5 million in chips. Fascinating dynamic developing here on the feature.
Ace of spade? No. No spade? No spade.
I don't remember actually.
Ankit starts to edge closer to Sun as the table chip lead. We see Gabdulin opening ace-jack in the hijack. Has been the hand of doom at this feature. Always feels, David, to me that Kadra has things in mind. We saw him peel earlier with 6-4 of diamonds. He is here to play. Very, very non-standard button peel here with 10-4 of clubs. Wants to take it to the streets. As I'm hearing in my ear from our wonderful backstage team, Kadra's game is like he is playing like he's doing karate. Chopping and kicking, slashing away. David, what you got for me?
Like, yeah. And his opponent in this situation looks like he's a samurai. So
he does, to be fair.
Some kind of mixed martial arts thing going on here.
It's the ninja versus the dojo. Really like how Gabdulin has played this. Going to be checking a lot. Hijack versus button, lots of checking. You know, typically, as a rule of thumb, the closer you sit to somebody on the table, the more you're going to check. He has a relatively invulnerable holding. If he finds the double check here, and if he does find it, David, love to see this. Beautifully played this from Gabdulin. Extends the invitation to Kadra. Find it difficult to imagine that he's not going to go for this. Does fire 200k into 520. Beautifully played this from Gabdulin. Really nothing to be done here except check call. Allow your opponent to bluff off. You know, some of those under pairs to the board would be likely candidate. Not too many just jack or 10x holdings. We can see that Kadra does have one. River completes the king of clubs. Of course, Gabdulin, it's still best. Has an absolutely wonderful bluff catch candidate here on the river. You know, Kadra shouldn't really bet the turn, David, right? With a hand like King Jack or King 10, King 8 suited types should all check when that king rolls off on the turn. So all of a sudden, you know, when you check, you're going to induce a bunch of bluffs. Of course, there are going to be some value hands in there. 10 Jack, King Queen being the most likely candidates. Kadra here feels as if he has to go for it. Looks like half pot. Cannot imagine this gets the job done, David. I'm not sure how many of our really nutted hands are going to choose half pot.
Yeah, I feel like this is the scene in the original Karate Kid where the kid was sent in by the dojo master to just like smash him out of it.
Well, Daniel's son is speeding here with the 10-4 of clubs. Mr. Miyagi poised to teach the young grasshopper a lesson. Can't imagine we ever lay this down. You know, Kadra could feasibly bet an ace for this size, right? I don't think it's impossible. Hand like ace-10 himself could go for some thin value, thin-ish value on the river. Gabdulin has played the hand like this, so he can check call.
Yeah, again, I assume this is about there being 16 players left, and he knows that if he calls and is wrong, he'll be maybe the shortest or second shortest stack.
Yeah,
so he's taking his time. It's the only thing I can make sense of, because my goodness, he has a hand that has to call. I mean, and can never raise.
Of all the hands that have to bluff catch, this is probably number one. I would be absolutely shocked to see a fold here. Credit to Kadra for fine. He lays it down! He's folded.
What did we just see?
Mr. Miyagi, you are no longer the master. I cannot believe he lays it down. Folds the ace-jack. Gives Kadra credit for either a straight or trip kings or better. Wow. That one. We must have a strategy segment on Merit Poker.
Okay, maybe you're chopping sometimes as well. It's like, what?
Oh, Gabdulin gonna be pained to watch that hand back. Played it so perfectly to induce the maximum. Somehow Kadra gets it through.
Wow, I'm
rarely speechless, David. That's one of those.
Oof.
Wow.
He's not going to be happy when he watches this back.
Oh, he is not going to like it. I didn't think there was ever a universe he would fold, I must say.
I didn't either. And I did think it was that situation of like, okay, well, if I call and lose, I might be the shorty, so why not take a minute off the clock here with 16 still left?
Yeah, even just taking your time, right? Just making sure, you know, it's a big spot. Let's make sure that I've got this one right. Unfortunately for Gabdulin, it gets it badly wrong. Critical pot, perhaps, in the context of his tournament. Kadra, you have got away with one. Back into the action with Queen-Jack of Spades. Daniliuk here with another premium ace-queen off. It's another one of those hands that typically flats, I think, a lot in modern poker. Used to be a spot that people would 3-bet. Nowadays, people using the weaker combos, but he is going to go for it on this occasion. Must with the intention to 3-bet call it off. Makes it 450 and Karaslan. Wow, this table. Absolute fist pumps it in.
Did not time bank, and we're still on that ladder jump.
So there you
really
go.
Surprised.
It was nothing to do with it. Was nothing to do with it then in the 8-6 hand. Here we go. Daniliuk begrudgingly has to flick this in. We are going to see that he is crushed. More crushed than he knows. Kadra folding the Queen of Spades. What a spot here all of a sudden for Karaslan to get back to 2.3 million. Great shape here.
What is king?
73% to win. Jack 5-6 rainbow. Ace king of clubs holding.
Pretty clean so far.
Deuce of diamonds on the turn. No help for Daniliuk. Only 2 remaining queens. 6 of spades river comes up clean for Karaslan. We did give him a bit of a hard time about that 8-6 of spades fold. He is back in the mix. 2.3 million.
Yeah, and he will be thinking to himself, well, I'm kind of glad I did that now. Given the price he had laid himself, it seemed like he must call it off earlier.
Yeah.
He does let it go and then gets the double up in a crucial situation here. Still 16 left. We've been frozen on 16 for best part of an hour now. We seem to be stuck on 21 players for a long time and then went 21 to 16 in the space of about 20 minutes. And now 8 players on each table. Well, have I spoken too soon? Ace-Queen against Ace-Jack. The all-in is Ace-Queen. Looking good for the double up.
Yeah.
Ace-Jack of spades. There is 1 spade on board. They each have each other's outs. There's two spades on board. Oh, and the king is
good for ace queen. Finds the hold.
And how big a pot is that? I'm just trying to do a little bit of eyeball gorilla maths. About 2 million in there, I think.
I think so. Perhaps a shade under.
Bernard back in business.
Absolutely relentless action, guys, here and on the outer table. Ankit continues to probe, raises ace-10 under the gun. Very tricky spot, this one, David. Pocket sixes for Daniliuk. Himself and Yurosov really have shown some very clever, shrewd restraint, recognizing that they can't get in there with too many marginals off these sort of 20 to 25 big blind stacks. Gets out of the way. Herzog's, though, going to defend with a dominated holding of her own. 10-7 of diamonds. Look at this.
Ooh, there's a 7.
7 in the window. Pretty innocuous looking at 7-3 deuce. Ankit, of course, entitled to feel as if ace-10 is still good. Likely going to see a small continue here. Does check this one back. Interesting. King of Hearts on the turn.
Looks to be going for showdown. Interesting to see if he goes for a little small equity denier now. He's checked these spots a couple of times. Looks like he is going to fire out the 1.5 bigs, maybe 2 bigs.
Feels like the flop is a good spot to sort of deny. I could be wrong. Ace-10 with a spade. It might fall nicely into flop check back. We can see that Herzog's not going to be folding here with a hand as strong as a 7. River is the 5 of spades. So Herzog's with the check mark. Ankit now sort of painted himself into an awkward spot. You see there a little grimace.
Yeah, draws get there. He knows he doesn't beat anything.
Yeah, not going to get a king to fold.
Best case scenario.
Sure. Gets the bad news.
Yeah.
Herzog's be delighted to pick up a small one there and not face river aggression.
So, looks like about 6 or 7 minutes left on the clock here. Playing maybe 2 or 3 more hands for the evening. Looks like neither of us are going to be right in the end. 16, you were closer.
Complete nonsense, 7-5.
Certainly have been chances for us to get below that 14 threshold. Really has been a fantastic day of coverage.
Oh, so much fun.
Yeah, lots of fun for us to cover. Hope you guys have enjoyed it on the rail. Long days indeed. Currently 16 players that will be coming back tomorrow. Unless we get a flurry of action. Wouldn't rule it out with this lineup. As we see Yurosov here in the cutoff. 20 bigs. Jack 10 off. Surveys the stacks behind him. Is going to come in for a raise. I'm very impressed with him technically. Kararslan here with the suited wheel ace. On the button, facing a raise from 20 big blind effective stack. Couple of ways to approach this one. Decides to take the passive route and get out of the way. Ankit does the same. Little fist pump from Yurosov. Hard to blame him, right? Last few hands, you're like, right, I don't want to play any complex stuff post. Let me take it down.
And deal.
Check of the watch from Sun. We're right there with you, buddy.
Well, Sun with a 5.7 million stack. He's under the gun here. He's going to get after it a little bit. Maybe feeling like this is the moment where players may just tighten up a fraction, may shave off a hand or two, just psychologically bagging up.
Yeah, absolutely. Does make an adjustment. We've seen him raise 2.5x throughout. Finds him in raise with the King 10. Round 2 Hertzos. We wait for our graphics to catch up, as they do quickly. Gabdulin here with a dominated King 9. Pretty dicey this one, David. Kind of getting to the very bottom of our defend range, I would suggest. Versus under the gun with just 16 left. Does flick it in. Does flop best. 9-7-6 with 2 hearts. Again, one of these textures that does favor the big blind in theory. Is of course a trend in modern poker. We do see a bunch of little probe leads. We can see that Sun has a hand. It's not going to be folding to one bet.
Certainly not.
Let's land on 40%.
Everyone wonders if he's just going to fire
Sun just
a raise.
jammed? Did he jam?
Yeah, he did.
Wow, Sun with the snap jam.
2 overs and a gutter. If you're really probing, here with the nutty one, good luck to you. Well, he is kind of. He's probing with almost as strong a hand as you could imagine here.
This is a very tough spot now for Gabdulin. You know, of course, you're in terrible shape against all the overpairs, all the ace-9 combos, even against a hand like the nut flush draw, or even pocket 8s, David. You're not loving life. Sun just with the insta-jam. I wonder if Gabdulin reads anything into this. Like, are you really just insta-jamming aces here? Insta-jamming queens, kings? Are you just piling them?
I think maybe.
You think he might?
I think that might be his perception of that. Is that actually that just look like a guy who's like, I'm not folding aces.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think that's maybe a sort of a timing tell that would fool me, actually.
Yeah, and it gets through. Gabdulin with the folds. Difficult to critique him on it either against the perceived range of Sun. Bravo to you, sir. Gets the best hand to fold. Little does he know quite how strong a hand Gabdulin folded. Of course, both sharing a king. In any case, Sun takes it down. Back over 6 million. So much to unpack from today, David. I feel like I need a lie down.
Oh, there's been so many hands. You know, normally you're right. It is that sort of ebb and flow thing. You have 2 or 3 hands of no consequence. Then we have an interesting one. We zoom in once in orbit on a really interesting one. Actually, they've just come so thick and fast.
Absolutely. It's been non-stop.
Credit to the players. Obviously, the dealers have done their part, but the players have really put on a masterclass in places. Some wild cards in the mix who've mix things up a bit as well. It's been a great recipe for an entertaining day of poker.
Absolutely. We're not done yet. Gabdulin finds Big Slick. Ace-King in the small. Working with 16 bigs behind. I wouldn't rule anything out with Kararslan.
No, and it does look like this is the last hand of the night, so...
Here it comes. Gabdulin sends the chips into battle, all in.
And Kararslan has been fortunate enough to get back to this 2.1 million. One suspects he doesn't want to take a huge body blow here with what would be a very loose call. It's got to be said, what, 18 bigs, 17 bigs?
Yeah, one of these spots that I think for chips is pretty close, but you know, with ICM in play, approaching the final table, that ace-9 of clubs begins to shrink. Does not look like the body language of a man who's going to call. Does let it go. Gabdulin takes it down, back up to 1.7 million as we approach the end of the day.
In fact, that is the end of the day.
There we go.
Well, look at that leaderboard now. Young Shen Sun, 60 big blinds going into tomorrow. 6 million even. I love that level. Nice and easy to work out the stack sizes. Ankit Ahuja, 4.4 million. Hadi Kadra, 3.4 million. Hersos, really impressed with her all day long. Just been solid as a rock.
Yeah.
Very consistent. Very hard to get chips off, frankly. Big fan.
Absolutely. As we saw, guys, pretty much a sensational day of action. So much to unpack. Lots of movers and shakers as we see their Sun going into tomorrow with 6 million. Ankit Ahuja positioning himself, David, to continue an assault as we approach the final table. And we were wrong. Only a couple off. 16 left. We thought potentially it would be 12 to 14. But very excited going into tomorrow. 2 tables left in the 2200 warm-up.
Yeah, with the stack of 4.4 million, Ankit has a fair bit of kit to do his business tomorrow. I'm going to leave you on one thing, though. One thing I know for sure is tomorrow is Sunday. But will it be Sun's Day?
Oh, David.
That we're not sure. You'll have to tune in to find out.
Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow.